Welcome to Clever Title Pending with your host, Brian K. Morris, independent publisher, freelance hybrid author, award-winning playwright, and former mortician's assistant. Don't send him title recommendations because Brian knows exactly what he's doing. So just sit down and look pretty as Brian K. Morris scrolls through your comments and plays with his mouse. Join him on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, for Evening Pandemonium and Moonlight Madness.
Good evening, everyone. How the heck are you? Welcome to Clever Title Pending for November 17th, 2020. Glad you're here. And whether you're watching live or on the rerun, we appreciate you. But please show up live so you can interact with the guests sometime. And we got some great ones. We're booked up all the way through the end of the year. And so we've got some really great guests, including tonight, too. Really, we do. We're going to have the Dastardly Dingoes on in a minute. Have you ever heard of them? Well, you should, because they're awesome and they are multi-talented and they're ready for your questions. So anyway, thank you for watching us, whether it's live or on the rerun, and a great big shout out to our friends on various podcast platforms such as Amazon Music, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. I almost said it wrong. iHeartRadio. Anyway, thank you for being here and listening. And if you're watching on Facebook on the Indie Vent or the Rising Tide Publications page, please give this video a like if you enjoy it, or give it a like if you don't enjoy it. What the heck? And also, please give the page a like, too, because it helps with the algorithms, all right? It increases our visibility and searchability. And on YouTube, thank you to everyone on YouTube. In the last 4 days, we have more than doubled our subscribers. And we're really excited about that. Thank you to all our new viewers, and we hope you enjoy what you see here. And if you enjoy what you see, please give this video a like, whether you're watching it on the Geek Insider page or the Brian K. Morris Rising Tide Publications page. And also be sure to subscribe and ring that bell so you'll be notified at least 30 minutes beforehand that we're going to be on the air, okay? If you're watching on Facebook, please share this video with your friends because we've got a lot to say here. This is going to be a fun show. Also, this show is brought to you tonight by Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, and by TyroneTonyReedJr.com, who's a great author, and you saw his spot earlier for the Solad series. When Kevin Edwards and his ex-girlfriend, Juanita Grayson, arrive on Dark Earth, a world ruled by demons, all they want to know is why. In order to learn the answers and save the world, Kevin and Juanita are each given a ring that transforms them into the superpowered beings Angelo and Angeline, soldiers of light against darkness, to begin their mission to end the Demon Master's reigns. As the war rages on, the heroes come face to face with their mortality, humanity, spirituality, and destinies. If Kevin and Juanita want to save the people of Dark Earth from evil and get back home alive, they will have to embrace the light and fight while discovering their frightening connection to the Demon Master. So check out the Solad series. It's a pair of books currently available on Amazon. Order yours today. And also you can check out the work of TyroneTonyReedJr.com. He's an awesome guy. And right now we are going to bring up two really, really awesome guys. You're going to love them. You will clutch them to your bosom and wonder why you have lived this long without seeing them. We want to bring onto the stage now Mr. Brian Rodman and Mr. Jeremy Woodring. Gentlemen, the Dastardly Dingoes, how the heck are you guys?
Lord, I'm doing great. Fantastic, sir. How are you?
Well, so far so good. I haven't made any major screw ups, so but the night is young.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going to have a good time here tonight, folks. And as always, we welcome your questions. I'll have a few while you guys start typing, and we'll be putting your comments on the screen. And we'll be reading selected questions. So this works a little differently than our morning show, Never Mind the Furthermore, where we read everything and get way behind. We'll still get way behind here, but what the heck?
Yes. I was just getting way behind, and that's where Christian died.
Yeah. Exactly. And if Christian, if you're here, prepare. The author of your torment is here. Anyway, well, actually, two of them, and you're welcome to join in. It's going to be gang tormenting tonight, Jeremy. But anyway, it's getting better already, isn't it?
All right.
But anyway, I'm going to let you guys take the, as we say, we're going to give you the floor and all the dirt on it. And I want you to, we'll start with Brian, and I want you to introduce yourselves, tell everybody why you're so darned awesome, what all you do, and where they can learn more about you. So let's start with Brian Rodman. Take it away, sir.
All right. Well, my name is Brian Rodman. I like long walks on the beach at sunset. I am a comic book creator, writer and artist of the horror fantasy comic book series Memoirs of an Angel. And you can find that at brianrodman.com. You can look up me on Facebook. You can find Memoirs of an Angel on Facebook, as well as Instagram. And also, Jeremy and I both do Dastardly Dingoes podcast. It's a weekly show where we interview amazing creators. Some wear fezzes, some others don't, and and we have a blast doing it. We love interacting with creators and just talking about the biz, as Jeremy likes to say. And so yeah, that's me. That's my half of the Dingoes as well. So there we go. Take it away, Jeremy.
Let's do that. Jeremy.
Yeah, so like Brian said, we've got a podcast where we talk about nerdy things, and it started as an idea that Brian shared with me, wanting to do this podcast, and he did not realize the level of extra that I would bring to the situation.
And humility, apparently.
Like he just. I remember like the first time we met to do the podcast, and he was just like, "What is happening down here?" He came to my basement, which is the official Dingo Cave. But yeah, I am an audio video editor. That's what I do as a job. I'm a freelancer. You can take a look at my work at jeremywoodring.com. Or reach out to me on Facebook, to learn more about it, or to, hire me to do work for you.
You can also find Jeremy on OnlyFans.
Oh, man. On OnlyFans, where I don't accept anybody because I'm Ron Swanson. I don't.
OnlyFans.biz/hobbitfeet. Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Oh, well, already we are getting comments. Imagine that.
Yes, yeah.
And Trevor Hawkins says hello, and Carly
Hello.
and Carleen is here with us. Mwah. And of course, Carl Witzman. Hello.
Oh, yes, the dark. What is it? The dark priest, the dark father.
Pope. He is the dark pope of the Church of the Rising Tide.
Indeed.
Which is our tax dodge. I mean, our very sincere church. Yeah, that's it. I'm in charge of interviewing nuns. But anyway, Carl Witzman says, "Everyone, hang on. I suspect this is going to be a wild ride."
Yes, it is.
You suspect correctly, sir.
Yeah. Yes, this may be the closest I come to control of the show. And of course, Carly says, "That's what she said." And of course,
I don't know to what, but probably she did say that.
Sarah says, "Hey there, mwah, Sarah, so glad you're here as always." And Ted Davies Artistry. Have you guys interviewed him?
Not yet.
No,
not yet. But it shall happen eventually. I'm sure.
There you go. Or vice versa.
We're having people on for next season, so
yeah. We are actually we are booked for the rest of this season.
Yeah.
And so we are taking. We're taking
auditions.
I was like, what are we taking? Applications? That's
bribes.
Just go. Yes, we're taking all the bribes.
Yeah.
Send me cookies, and we'll get you on the show.
Send you cookies what? Oh wait, that's something else. Excuse me. I have another frame of reference. So.
Oh, that's right.
You'll get it one day, Brian, and you'll just laugh.
I'll catch up one day. One year it'll happen. # bring cookie home.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Trevor Hawkins mocks us with his laughter, and
as he should. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, we deserve it. And hello. Or no, it's the Three Stooges. That's right. It's the Three Stooges. Hello. Hello.
We need to practice that, guys. Come on now.
We didn't get enough practice time in, and the choreography sucks too. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
And
there's not a lot of like movement choreography. Running into the walls.
And Sarah's talking to Ted and ignoring us completely, saying, I just watched your interview with Brian a little bit ago, and now back for more Fez and talk. There we go. I confess. Yes, and hope you liked it. So did I. And here we go. Cindy Cap asks, what's the hubbub, bub? Well, that's a good answer. Thank you very much.
As you can see, just nothing but riveting conversation happening here.
Yes. And now, okay,
I'm sitting in my basement.
Yes, where people go in, but they don't come out. But anyway, let's get this started here. Then, talk to me about your nerdy background. You guys talk about getting nerdy on your show, and what's your background? What were the things that got you into embracing your nerd side? And we'll go through comments while you guys are talking. So
sure, Jeremy, you want to start us off?
Yeah, actually, I credit my nerdiness, embracing my nerdiness, to Brian. So
I actually didn't know that.
we've known each other for a long time, and it was about 4 or 5 years ago that I saw him posting about his comic and reached out to him and said, hey, I've never really been a comic collector, but I love comic book movies and things like that. And I just kind of want to like learn more about it. And so we met and started talking. And like I said, it ended up, we started this podcast. I would definitely say that I am a baby nerd. So I've been like speed reading comics and
hold on, wait, you're reading?
I know.
Are you really?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I'm dabbling. I had to learn first, but
Yes.
So yeah, and watching movies that I wouldn't necessarily watch just because I felt like if I wanted to call myself a movie nerd, then I needed to, actually have seen most of the movies. So yeah. But yeah, that's me. That's how I became a nerd.
I came out of the womb bearded and nerdy. And I really didn't have a choice because I have asthma really bad, right? So if you're an asthmatic, you automatically have to be a nerd, and because that's just the rules of life. And so I was stuck inside a lot of times growing up, and so my parents, being the good, wonderful parents they were, they gave me comics, and I was just they gave me drawing paper and comics, and I would kind of look at the comics and draw, and I really started reading a lot of that. Jumped into the movies as well, very early on. And Batman actually was the first kind of entrance. I remember I was, I don't know, 4 or 5, sitting in my living room with my family. We were watching the 1989 Tim Burton Batman movie. I still remember that. It's one of my earliest memories. And that, I think, was the beginning. And ever since then, I never looked back. Constantly, reading comics, making comics that were terrible, and little silly comic strips, and jumping into, I did theater for a while, and just all the nerd stuff you could think of, but always very steeped in comics and cartoons and movies, and that was kind of my playground. And then eventually, in 2015, I had been working on a comic idea for many years at that point, and my wife she said, okay, she said, look, you're either going to do this or you're going to shut up, because I cannot listen to it anymore.
And so great about that, right?
Yeah,
they're so good at like helping you figure things out. Sarah
exactly
did the same thing to me. She was like, hey, just figure out what you want to do, okay?
And do it,
please.
Just go do it, please. And she, you know, like Robin's helped, and she's been actually a huge help doing a lot of the business stuff. She's an accountant, and she understands that a lot better than I do. I draw pictures and write words, and she does everything else, and it's a great great team. But yeah, and ever since 2015 we've been on this wild ride. And then last year, Jeremy and I and another friend started the Dastardly Dingoes, and the first season was just audio, was just a regular podcast. And then this year, our friend, didn't really want to do it anymore, and it just kind of wasn't his thing. And so Jeremy and I kind of restructured it. Jeremy really took the lead on making it a YouTube channel with really good video quality, and all the, he knows all the bells and whistles when it comes to that stuff, and running the video quality well, and editing very well. And we decided to create a show where we interview other creators, and it's been great. It's been a lot of fun. We've made a lot of new friends, and got connected with older friends, and it's been a great year for that. Not so much for other things, but
we had no idea. We had no idea what was going to happen when we started the podcast this way in 2019 or in 2020. Like, does anybody even care? Or are they all just trying to survive?
Right. Is it Mad Max outside, or what's happening? So,
but Brian hasn't been out of the house, so he wouldn't know.
Yeah, I've been the curmudgeon hermit inside my hole. So
I beg your pardon.
Well, inside my whole hashtag 50 Shades of Christian.
Yes. Christian died. Yeah. So what led you guys to, you guys are both creative people, but what made you say, let's work together, let's do a podcast, and then what made you take it from audio only to sharing it to other platforms, and also mention what other platforms you guys are on, please? It's called a promotion.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
On the internet. We are on the internet.
On the interwebs. Yes.
What's the computer? No.
Yeah, it's that thing you hook the dial up to.
Oh, okay. I love that noise. It makes me happy.
Just don't pick up the phone, man. Just don't pick up the phone.
God, your house will blow up. No. Yeah. Actually, when we first started, Jeremy mentioned this when we first started. Our friend Justin and I, we walked into Jeremy's basement, and this sounds like the beginning of a horror movie or something else, but we walked into Jeremy's basement, and it was a legit professional green screen, professional mics up, the most professional thing I had ever been a part of. And we had absolutely no warning. Justin and I, he and I had talked about doing this podcast. We mentioned to Jeremy. Jeremy was like, I'd love to do it, and I have all the equipment. And so we're like, all right, cool. We expected a nice round table or something with a mic in the middle, and we'd all lean in like that. No, we walked in this basement, and this man was like the local news station in his basement. And but we did, from the very get-go, Jeremy really had a vision for this show, and it was to expand into video. And the first season we really were just kind of working out what the show was, what we wanted to do, what we wanted to accomplish, gaining a listener base, and then moving from there. And like Jeremy said, then 2020 happened, and we were like, well, we were not meeting in person anymore, so let's try the YouTube route out, and we'll interview people and see what that goes. So it was a mixture of, this was the goal all along, but also adapting to the craziness that 2020 brought us.
Yeah, I think we were just trying to figure out a workflow with the first season, or at least I was, just coming from an editing background, how do you take audio and video, and a lot of times the audio version of a podcast is much more heavily edited, because you can take out ums and things like that and blend it pretty well to where people have no idea that that you cut something out. With video, it's different, because you're going to see the jerks, and people's heads are going to be this way or that, things like that. So that's what I didn't want if we did video. And I was trying to figure out how to create a streamlined workflow. And just so that I didn't go insane editing for like 15 hours a week for one, episode or things like that. So yeah, that for me, that was what the first season was about. And then when we decided or were forced to do it on Zoom because we couldn't meet, then it made things a whole lot simpler. We recorded on Zoom. I run it through some post-processing stuff, and we pretty much ship it how it is. I mean, there's not a whole lot of editing to it. And I think the interview style kind of lends itself to that, where things are a lot more candid. Whereas what we were doing before was it was a production. We each had topics that we were going to speak about, and there were times where we were, talking back and forth to each other and things like that. And trying to edit something like that, to edit out ums and pauses and, missteps and things like that, it was a nightmare. So I'm very thankful that this is the way that we've decided to do it. It just makes things way easier for me. So yeah.
And I will say, but I do miss the nice gems that Jeremy would share with us, because sometimes when Jeremy would go and meticulously edit the audio, there was one time, I don't remember which one of us it was, but there was this the king of gibberish moments.
Yeah.
Like all you heard was and you were like, who did this? Like what?
It was you, Brian.
What's it mean?
Yeah, it was you.
I don't know what kind of drugs I was on apparently that day, but
it was like is it Porky Pig? The beep. Yeah. It was that. And I was like, I was listening and I sent it back and I'm like, what is he saying?
Yeah.
You just gibberish.
And the next time we all met to record, Jeremy was like, guys, I have to let you listen to this. I'm not sure what demon was in Brian, but we lost it. And it was a great icebreaker for the next episode. We were like, oh, this is wonderful.
Yeah.
But it's funny because you talk about that. You might want to keep those moments, because I used to do a podcast years ago with a wonderful lady named Kim Lockman, Fan Central Fancast on Blog Talk Radio. And what we would do is we would save our bloopers.
Oh, yeah.
And it was usually where we do the missteps and we start swearing at each other and laughing at our dirty jokes and everything. Yeah. And those are our most popular ones.
All right.
But we also felt incumbent upon us, okay, once we start this thing, if you don't like bad language, turn off your radio. You're set for like the next 2 minutes and 38 seconds because we're going to blister your eardrums here, because Kim and I, the F-bombs rained like the Americans on Dresden, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So just saying, do you have plans to unveil the blooper reel, or is Jeremy holding on to that as his retirement income?
Blackmail.
Yeah. No, I mean, I know we've talked about eventually doing a Patreon page and things like that, and those types of nuggets of joy will be accessible there, and I'm sure we've talked about sprinkling it in through in YouTube as well.
Yeah, like Brian knows, I hit record as soon as I pull up in Zoom. As soon as I pull up the session in Zoom, I hit record. And sometimes we'll talk for a few minutes, and then somebody else, our guest will come in and they'll talk, and we'll end up chit-chatting for a half an hour and then start the podcast. So I think there's something that people would want to listen to, kind of like the behind the scenes sort of things. And I've thought about ways to package that and make it something that people would want to hear. But we have that for sure.
Yeah, one time I serenaded you while you were gone, and it was a lot of fun. There was no one in the room, that we didn't have a guest yet. It was just me and a blank screen, and I sang my heart out to you, sir.
And candlelight, wine, moment.
Cats were screaming in the background. It was beautiful.
No, but I'm glad you mentioned Patreon. # always promote.
Look at you on the ready, sir.
I know. And actually,
That's
if
great.
I was on the ready, I'd have this up.
Oh,
check out the crawl down below, the Dastardly Dingoes podcast at dastardlydingoes.com and all major platforms for podcasts. So check out these guys' back catalog. They also have a page on Facebook, and they're on YouTube and all the proper video platforms. So once you leave here, start checking these guys out because they are really funny. I had a blast recording with you guys.
Jeremy would love for you to check him out. Really, he would.
And I want the pictures or it didn't happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So lonely. But anyway, no, I want to share these comments too. I'm married, but I still got to pulse people. But anyway, welcome to DDK. You picked the wrong episode to show
Indeed,
up at, probably. But DDK, thank you for being here. And awesome beards, guys.
Thank you very much. We actually thought about shipping one to Brian just so he could have something there.
Made with a combination of both of our beards.
Yeah, exactly.
Glued to his face.
Extra, just make it extra weird, you know?
Oh my God. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Now I know how was it last week tonight's host felt when John Oliver, thank you. Oliver, how he felt when Kylo Ren showed up last Sunday.
It was so funny. They're hilarious.
I heard about it.
Oh, it's so good.
It was so I love that. I and my wife doesn't really like that kind of humor that much. She thinks I'm stupid, and if I'm laughing at it, it's gotta be stupid. But I read some of the lines that they were throwing at each other, and she's like, that's amusing. So that's a big step forward for my wife. So, but anyway, about the subject of beards, Carl Wisman says Carly is in beard heaven now.
Welcome.
Yeah. Boom, chicka wow wow. And 2 beards of 2 handsome men and 2 sideburns on the man I love them. Out of. See, we've got a 7-7 delay on my.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, on my microphone. Yeah, you guys, we ain't worried about. It's Fez boy.
I don't know. Jeremy's been known to have quite the potty mouth on occasion. I'm just
what?
Actually, I don't know that I've ever heard you say a cuss word. Actually,
I don't normally at all.
Yeah. I don't think. Yeah, I don't.
The only time I've heard you heard.
The
only time I've heard you.
This is a scathing indictment of the public educational system, Jeremy.
Well, I'm from Bullitt County, so
yeah.
Okay, then
it's a thing.
Yeah. The only time I've heard Brian say a cuss word, he actually said, I don't know if you were on the phone with your dad at that time, or if you were or if it was afterwards.
Oh, I forgot about that. I think I did. I think it's the only time in my life I've cussed at my father. So this is the story. Okay. So we're recording. Yeah. So we're recording on a Saturday morning, and my dad thinks it's a great idea to prank me, which on any normal day, I mean, it's fine. Like, I love pranks. It's great. This prank was terrible. He literally texts me. He texts me, I'm in jail, text your mother. Which my dad doesn't do that stuff. I'm like, oh crap, this is for real. Because dad's never, he doesn't say anything. And so then he texts me again, like, the house is on fire. Text me, or call your mother. And I'm like, what in the world? So I call mom thinking like she's at home and that the house is on fire. And I'm like, are you okay? She's like, yes, what's wrong with you? I'm fine. And I told her what happened, and she was like, oh my gosh. And what happened was my dad was at my uncle's house, and my uncle made him do it. And so, like, I was so mad that day.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Made him do it. Yeah. No, I was so mad that day. And I called him back, and I was just like, I don't know what I said, but I was not happy. And I did cuss. I don't know if I cussed at him or just in general, but I don't know. I dabble in the curse words. I think if it's a creative moment, why not?
Right.
So, but yeah, like Craig Ferguson. So Craig Ferguson has a really good thing that he says about cussing and using cuss words. And he says, like, give an example of somebody who just bought a new pair of pants. And, if you're wearing a new pair of pants and someone walks up to you and they say, oh, that's a really nice pair of pants, it makes you feel good. But if they walk up to you and they say, that's an effing good pair of pants, that makes you feel so much better.
Yeah,
it just does. It emphasizes the greatness of the moment. And so, I like them. I like the naughty words on occasion.
That the last thing you said reminds me of Boondock Saints when they kill everybody, and the guy walks in. He's like, "What the effing?" Like just like at least 20 F words, and one of them, I can't remember which brother, he was like, certainly demonstrates the diversity of the word.
Yeah. Well, we get some pretty effing great comments here, and to continue this, Carleen goes, "Oh, hey Ted," distracted by all the lovely facial hair.
Well,
I've been growing it since I was about 3. So
yeah, he has, and he's not kidding. I've known Jeremy and I have been friends since we were in middle school, and I think you had a beard when I met you.
I was regularly shaving in 9th grade.
Yeah,
like an everyday shave in 9th grade.
Yeah,
it was intense.
When we got into like later high school, because he's a couple years older than me. Like when we got into later high school, the dude was just like lumberjack city.
Yeah,
senior in high school, chopping down trees, eating pancakes, just growing a beard by the minute,
wearing women's clothes. Yeah.
Wait a minute, not that. You snuck that one in
there. Gotta be cautious. That host, he's a rascal. Anyway, we've got a question here from Cindy Cap, CKOEPP.com. Sign up for our newsletter. What are the Dastardly Dingoes about? Explain the hilarity and the wonderfulness of your podcast, please.
Jeremy, why don't you speak first on that?
I can't answer where the name came from because, like Brian and I talked about when we met on that first day, he was like, "So the show's Dastardly Dingoes," and I was like, "Oh, okay, let's go, let's do it." So I don't actually know the origin story of the name.
You're gonna be very disappointed. It's not that serious. Okay. It was literally me and a group of guys that I work with in a tech shop.
Yeah.
And we were just trying to come up with stupid names for a podcast.
Oh, all right.
And I don't remember who actually. Yeah, it's not romantic. The story is not like, oh, that's so cool. No, It's literally just 5 guys in a room going, "That'd be funny. What's this?" and eventually we landed on the Dastardly Dingoes, and the other guy, Justin, our friend, he and I worked together, and so he was in that group, and I think we were gonna do like something, the Dastardly something else. I don't remember what it was. And then it ended up being Dingoes because the thing that we wanted to do was already taken.
Oh, okay.
But
that's news to me. Like I had no idea.
I realized I don't think I've ever told that story. But,
this is the learning place. Now, Jeremy, aren't you glad you showed up tonight?
I know. Yeah, I'm learning all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, right. I've been doing this show for 2 years, and I don't know why we call it that. I would really have inquired before now.
I just kind of leaned into it. Like,
I'm glad that it wasn't. I'm glad for you that it wasn't anything like awful, like some weird, crazy, crazy. Like what? What is this?
Dingoes. Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, but so what are we about? We are about all things nerdy. That's our tagline, and that we stay true to it. It's literally we talk about in the season 1 we really dive deep into like nerd news and kind of the topics of what nerddom brought to us, be it video games, comics, movies, TV shows, cartoons, whatever, and also the technologies that actually make it all happen. And that's actually, Jeremy really brought that to the show in season 1 and describing a lot of, kind of behind the scenes, different cameras, different things like, how things work.
Right.
And so
that's kind of my jam.
It is his jam, and he jams it well. But yeah, that's it. It's really, it's movie reviews. This season it's interviewing creators, and we'll probably do a combination of both next year. Hopefully, we'll get some new movies, coming in theaters again, and we'll be able to do reviews and things like that again. But right. But yeah,
I keep on my Apple TV going to the movies tab like instinctively. And it's like, oh, it's the same 40 movies that it has been the last 8 months. Like there's literally nothing new.
Yeah. And we do have streaming services and things like
Yeah.
that, like new things like that. So we regardless, we will be doing some of that next year because
Yeah.
there is new material coming out. But that's
Yeah.
it's not in theaters, unfortunately. So
Right.
yeah, that's what we're about. You got anything else to add there, Jeremy?
No, I think you definitely covered it. I am, like I've said, a baby nerd, and so I brought everything that I had to the team. But I think at first season, Justin and Brian, like they're grown up nerds. They're full fledged nerds. So I've had to like bone up on my nerdiness. But it's been fun for sure.
That's good. I feel like grandpa nerd now. Um, Jeffrey Hayes, thank you for being here. Yes, we did cover what prompted you guys to start up the broadcast. But anyway, Jeffrey Hayes, PlasmaFireGraphics.com,
Oh, cool.
co-sponsor of the show.
Yeah.
When the look of your book matters to you. Also, Tyrone Tony Reed Jr.com. Check out the Soled series because we said we'd mention these guys because they paid to be here. Anyway, now here's a serious question from Cindy Kep. Really serious. Which Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle is hanging out behind you?
Hold on just a second.
I can give you the full screen. Hold on.
Oh, here we go here. So this
Leonardo
is Leonardo, which is not my favorite Ninja Turtle, but this is literally like, I don't know how long I've had this guy, and my parents found him in their garage lately, or like earlier in the year, and they're like, "Do you want him, or do you want us to throw him?" I was like, "No, give him to me, because I make comics and I'm a nerd." So he's now,
cool.
he's now on the floor now, but yeah, but no, it is Leonardo. He is my companion in the office.
So what's your favorite then?
Yeah.
Let me guess.
Michelangelo.
I was gonna I couldn't get it out fast enough.
That's fine.
I'm definitely Raphael. I kind of vibe with the super angry and okay with killing people kind of vibe.
You're like a mixture of Raphael and Donatello, though, because Donatello knows all the tech stuff, and you even you have kind of a more introverted demeanor like Donatello. But you can turn into a giant rage monster, and that's fun.
And Sarah appreciates your decor too, Jeremy.
Thank you. I love it. It's like this. I don't really know how to explain it. It's just how the basement is designed. There's this little nook, and I just decided to put all of my favorite things in there. So you see wrong finger. This guy back here.
I can't do that either.
Bring him close. Let's see him. What's his name?
His name is Freddy, obviously.
Oh, it literally is Freddy Krueger. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So I use that for lighting purposes. So when I'm testing out like a certain lighting style, whether it's like coming on this way or if it's straight down or whatever, I use this because I'm kind of like a one-man crew. So I was tired of having to like sit down, take a picture, run back around to my camera to see if that was good, make an adjustment. So this way I set him up and I just make all of my adjustments and settings, and I look, okay, well, does it look good on Freddy? It's probably going to look good on me. So that's the reason why he's down here.
Wow. That is a professional there.
And I just turned the camera on. And what you see is what you get.
I just make sure my bow tie is reasonably straight. So that's about as much detail as I put into this. So, and everybody's going, "We know, Brian. We know." But anyway, great question, Cindy. And here's another one: Are either of you musically inclined?
Jeremy is.
Yes, I am. We got my bass guitar back here, and I also play acoustic and electric, mostly electric. That's kind of my deal. This is actually my dad's bass guitar. Yeah, but I am musically inclined.
Wow, and how long have you been playing?
I mean, as far back as I can remember, really, my dad is a musician. And so I was like his roadie, like free labor when he was in bands as I was growing up, like free manual labor. But that really got me into being a musician, which got me into all of the technology for, you know, live sound production and studio production and things like that. So yeah, it's all from my dad.
Yeah. Now, do you play professionally in any capacity?
Not necessarily professionally. Like I don't do anything where I would get paid, but I do or have been playing at my church or in churches for the last 10 or 15 years. So
Very, very cool. Very
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cindy Kep also asks, "What do you do for fun aside from
Uh,
the podcast?" Apparently, because it is a fun experience, people. Believe
Right.
me, it is
Yeah.
a hoot.
It is a lot of fun. But I mean, if I'm not making videos for the podcast or on shows like yours, I'm making videos and taking pictures. I mean, that's kind of why I feel blessed, because I am doing for a job what I love doing. So I think both of you guys can relate with that as well. Like,
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
for sure, man.
I don't know how. Like, I think about jobs that people have, especially now, and it's like I I would be so miserable. You know what? Like, I don't know. I just I feel blessed that I get to do this. I get to be my own boss and things like that. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I tell people the day that I got fired from the water company to start doing like the freelance stuff was
yeah,
probably the second best day of my life,
yeah,
right behind getting married. So
yeah,
I feel you, I really do. So, folks, this is a great, pardon me, great, great something to learn here. If you've got a passion for something, start going. And these guys, I meant to make the point earlier that you guys didn't wait until it was perfect
yeah,
to release your podcast. You went out and kind of felt your way
yeah,
towards what eventually became what is now the Dastardly Dingoes podcast.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I had never done like long-term video capturing, and so Brian can remember like the first. I was trying to do video from the very first episode, and every
Yeah.
time there was just something that didn't work right, and it's like, okay, so it was like that crucible, right? And so I'm every single week after they leave, it's like, well, what went wrong? Why did this not work? Or, I'm looking at the video quality and it's like, this looks like garbage. What do I need to do differently? Do I need a specific lens, or, is it settings on the camera, or is it settings in the software, things like that? Like, I every single week was trying to figure that out. And I think like by the end of the first season, I had it pretty well figured out. And then everything changed because now we're doing it on Zoom, and like my camera is going to look as crappy as the GoPro that I'm actually using right now, because everything's compressed and bottlenecked on the internet. Everybody is doing things with video now. So
Yeah. Yeah, it is funny too, because Justin and I, Justin, he was not a fan of doing any kind of video stuff. He's just a very introverted dude, and he was not looking forward to that at all. And every time the next time we come in, Jeremy be like, "I'm sorry, guys, but the video didn't really work this time." And Justin would just be like, "Oh, thank God."
Yeah. Oh, darn. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh no."
Gee, we lost it forever. Oh. I feel your pain.
Yeah.
And Cindy Kip says, "What do you get if you cross a beetle and an Australian dog? Dingo Star."
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Star
Cindy's
Anderson.
jokes are amazing. I
Aren't
love
they,
them
though?
so much.
Oh.
I'll be sitting, I'll be laying in bed at night, and I'll just be giggling, and Robin, my wife, is just like, "What are you laughing at?" And I'll show her the joke, and she's like, "Oh my gosh." But yes, it's great. It's so great.
She's terrific. CKOEPP.com. And Sarah says, "I already want to subscribe to their show."
Thank you,
madam.
And
yes.
do it. Do it now.
Leave us. Like, "Thank you. Do it now."
Yeah,
right.
We'll wait.
We'll wait.
Yeah,
We'll wait.
We'll vamp until you get back. We won't do anything special, I promise. Especially from my end. But
it's Sarah. This is as ridiculous as all the show the shows are always like this. Like we're
Yep.
just, it's off the rails from the get go. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's like I remember when you guys invited me for this season, which again I'm incredibly grateful because I had such a good time.
It was a lot of fun.
It was, and was it you guys said you wanted an hour? I think it was, and I think we were talking for like 2.5 or something.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, that's the thing. We tell everybody like the goal is about an hour, but if we go longer, that's actually great. Like we prefer it that way.
Yeah.
So it was awesome.
It was a lot of fun. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that before I was a guest, before I appeared on your show, rather, you sent me a questionnaire of questions. Now, where did you come up with the idea of sending the questions to your next guest? And how has that helped you guys in putting on your show?
Well, in season 1, we didn't have guests, and at the beginning, we didn't even have notes. Really, like we would just come in and wing it, and we realized that would
nobody wants to hear that.
Well, for the first the format, it put a lot more work on Jeremy because we would there'd be a lot of dead air, there'd be a lot of just kind of fumbling through things, and so we switched to an outline amongst ourselves, and we just carried that over with the guests. As well, and that way it gives the guests a little bit of like heads up on what we're going to be talking about. They can kind of look over it, prepare themselves, and then also see if we touched on something they don't really want to talk about, they can let us know, and it's no big deal. So yeah, it was kind of an organization
thing. Honestly
thing.
Thought that I kind of thought that was how people did podcasts. To be perfectly honest, like I didn't realize that it was a special thing.
Well, it is. You see did you notice how you guys didn't get one for this show?
Well, this show's a little different because it's live, right? So we respond to a lot of the comments and things like that. That is a little different. You can't really prepare for that. We'll probably end up doing live shows, and there really won't be a whole lot of an outline for that because it'll be more on the fly.
Yeah, I've given up on outlining for these shows. It just doesn't work. I've got a stack of papers like this. My questions for other people that I didn't get to. But anyway, in fact, we don't always get to the ones we get here. Right. But anyway, let's see. Cindy Cap has another one. Why aren't dingoes good dancers? Because they have 2 left feet.
And 2 right ones.
Yeah. Took me a moment on that one. Now, Cindy Cap also would like to know: are the chief inquisitor of the Church of the Rising Tide?
Indeed, she asked some of the best questions.
She does. She ought to be doing the show. I ought to take Tuesdays off. I'm a hack. Anyway, Cindy would like to know a funny tale, or maybe 2, from someone you've interviewed. Do you each have a favorite story from someone that stuck in your memory?
Let's see. Honestly, I will come out and say you are one of them. What was it? The mobster story. That is one of the best stories that we've had on the show.
I was on the edge of my seat, like, what is happening?
Yeah, it was so great. I was like, dude, do I need to be careful about where I go now because I know you?
Have someone else start your car for about 2 weeks after you do that show again.
No, that was a great story. A great moment that we had. Jeremy, do you have one that you can think of?
Well, I was thinking of the time where like when we had Andrew Morris on, and it was like a horror themed episode, and I was like, I don't like horror movies. And for a long time I kind of felt like a lot of horror movies are kind of like low-hanging fruit. Like it's all about the body count and jump scares and things like that. I've since learned that there are tons of great horror movies. And anyway, so in preparation for that episode, I watched The Exorcist. I feel like that's one of the biggest ones.
Yeah. And tell the class what you thought about it. Disappointed.
So I liked it, but I had some like frustrations. It seemed disconnected, like the thing that happened in the beginning in the Middle East, and then there was this whole storyline with the younger priest and the mom and the daughter and things like that, and that was pretty like contained. But then also at the end they bring back the guy from the beginning, and there's no like connective tissue there. There's nothing connecting those stories except for he just shows up and is the guy that has to do the thing. And and there were a lot of like long like walking or like cars pulling into driveway scenes that I'm like, it's the impatience in me, and probably the fact that I've really been a modern cinema guy. I've had to do some like reaching back and watching watching earlier stuff, and I think that was just it was in the 70s, and that was what 70s cinema was like, and I didn't realize that going into it. And I've heard since that what happens in the beginning, there's a lot more story that connects this guy to the main story, in a way that I didn't get. But it was like I was talking about these things to Andrew, who is such a horror fan, and that is one of his favorite horror movies, and I felt like I was just crushing his dreams. Like
it was great.
That's funny.
And he was, was saying things, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't like it."
You could just see the joy just melt away from his face, and it was it was very entertaining for me because Andrew Morris is both of our friends now, but he was a good buddy of mine by the time he got on the show, and I knew ahead of time that Jeremy did not really like horror at the time, and Andrew loves horror so much, so I was just like,
let's watch.
Watch chaos ensue. This is going to be great.
Oh, look, the dumpster just ignited.
This will be fun.
And since actually Andrew and I talked afterwards, and he gave me a list of what he thought were the best horror movies. I think it was like 20 movies. And since that episode, which was only like like a month and a half ago, I have watched like 95% of them. And I've loved almost all of them. I think there was one that I didn't like. But
which one was that? I'm just curious.
Let me pull it up. I've got The Exorcist. But I
was gonna say, have you seen Exorcist 2?
No.
Oh, don't.
For the love of God, do not do it.
However, The Exorcist 3 is actually a really good movie.
Yeah, it is.
George C. Scott was great in it.
Yeah, and not even Richard Burton could save 2.
2 was awful. 2 was because they made money on the first one. Let's be honest. That's what 2 was. 2 was like, let's just see what we can squeeze out of this.
They just pushed the marketing button. They're like, do it again. Do it again. Do it again. I feel like production houses that once they find something, they're like, let's see how many times we can push the button. And no matter how awful it is.
Yeah, it's pretty much like because she was possessed, she now has superpowers.
Oh,
which could be cool, but the way that they did it was not cool. Like it was really boring and not entertaining at all.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I read the book that William Peter Blatty used as his reference by a man named Osterreich. That he uses his reference for how to portray possession. And one of the tenets in it is that once you are exorcised, you cannot be possessed again.
Oh, okay.
So her getting possessed again went against the rules. And I remember sitting in the theater where it's like she's swinging this thing around and Richard Burton's hanging on to her. And then all of a sudden the house lights come up and we're all just sitting there like, no, you get up first. There may be more. You get up first. I saw Monty Python on the Holy Grail. They're not pulling this trick twice. So it's a total. It makes the first Jeremy. It will make the first one look like Citizen Kane.
Okay.
Okay,
fair.
so
Yeah.
Yeah. So the one that I did not like, it's called Kill List. It's from 2011. It's an English film, like a European, British, I guess,
oh, that explains
film.
it right there.
What do you
Yeah.
call?
John
What do you
Oliver's-
call those people in other countries?
I don't know, something
Yeah.
weird.
Like, John Oliver's told you how emotionally dead he is inside.
Right,
You know, how can they know true terror when they know no joy?
It was just a really weirdly paced, again, disconnected. I feel like that is probably one thing is like a sticking point for me. Like, okay, you want to be Tarantino, that's fine, but you got to connect them all. Just to have these things that don't ever connect, that it's a huge turnoff. I'm like, I don't even care about this movie. Like the whole time I was like, this was my face. I feel like if I had a camera, I was like, what?
Yeah.
We have
Like,
to.
I just
We
Let
have
me
to
edit
do
this
that.
thing. Let me edit this thing.
Yeah,
We have to do that, Jeremy. I have to pick a movie that I know you're gonna hate and just film you.
yeah. Like,
And then we could, just
the whole
watch
time, like, freaking Brian.
the utter disappointment. And then, like every now and then you could just pan to me, and I'll just be like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, well, my wife, she doesn't, like I said, she and I just don't quite mesh on the humor thing sometimes. And there used to be a show on USA Network on weekends called Night Flight. And what they did was they took the original stories that were eventually edited into what we now call the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. They took the originals and they did a kind of a Woody Allen dub on them.
Oh, awesome.
Things like, okay, the monster's in town. Let's go endanger the Pink Ranger now. And my wife, when they had like a marathon of these, like about 7 episodes back to back, and we all were like watching the first one. Then we're all looking over at my wife, and she's like, and the next time we look over, she's like,
huh? Yeah.
And the next time she's like,
not having it.
She's not having it at all.
Not
and
at
we're
all.
after a while, we're just like watching the screen. Okay.
Yeah. Are you dead inside? What's happening?
It's like that show MXC, where they overdubbed the Japanese game show.
Yes.
With was it Vic Romano and Kenny Blankenship was what the names of those were.
Oh, I loved it. And actually, like when they did Wipeout, here, I was like, oh, it's not the same because you just don't have all the voiceovers, and it was so funny. Gosh, it was so funny.
Well, there's like when I was on the show, I told you one of my fave movies was from way back when. Mm-hmm. There's one from the 60s, written by Woody Allen before he got creepy. Now it's like, okay, I'll go quietly, officers. I watched a Woody Allen film, but no, he did one called "What's Up, Tiger Lily," and it was an Asian film, but he had it completely redubbed with American jokes and everything, and it had nothing to do with whatever the plot was. And the one part I remember is like this couple is like on this platform overlooking the runway of an airport, and they're talking, and she's like, oh, what shall we do with our lives, John? And he's like, hold on a second, let's wait until this person walks between us and the camera. And then this person just walks through the scene. He goes, okay, let's go on. It's just little stuff like that, so
I think things like that, they really allow you to like flex your screenwriting chops, and because you just have like infinite content. I don't have to shoot the movie and do the excellent screenwriting. I can just take other people's stuff and just use that action and fill something in.
Or do both, like Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
Yeah. Right.
You could just literally make a movie, then dub it as ridiculous as you want to.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go. I think I'll do that. And I'll put it on YouTube, call it copyright strike. But anyway, here we go. Cindy Kemp rules the roost. Here she come on up. There we go. Slow computer. What's small, furry, and bright purple? A koala holding its breath.
I was gonna say Jeremy, but that works too.
I've got the purple light.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, the Prince mood here. And Cindy Kemp wants to know, what's your favorite comic book? Now, Jeremy, do you read comic books?
I do. And
Yeah, you
actually,
do.
I have one right here that I got in the mail that I'm going to do a live
What?
unboxing of.
Say
Awesome.
what on my
Yeah.
show?
Yep.
Holy
It
cats!
came in the mail a couple of days ago, and I was like, I'm
Yeah.
going to do this on the
Oh
show.
my goodness.
Oh,
Ooh,
look
I've
what I
heard
have
of that book.
here.
I hear it's really cool.
It's so good. Well, I don't know because I haven't read it. This one might be garbage.
It's
but
utter trash. It's just burn it. It's terrible.
oh, it smells like good comics.
Oh, you got to lick the spine. Lick
Yeah,
the
lick
spine.
it, lick
I
it,
don't-
lick it.
Lick the
I-
spine.
I haven't even taken it out of the plastic. I don't want to
Lick
do
the
that.
plastic.
I don't want
Yeah,
to.
go for
Do
it.
it. Peer
It's
pressure.
a tradition here.
Yes.
Fine.
Oh,
Get in there.
baby.
There it is.
Oh, that was a tease. What
Yeah.
was that?
not doing that.
You just got it moist. You didn't get it wet though.
Moist.
Moist. Sorry if you're here, Amy Hale. She hates that word. But anyway, what else do you like to read? What else do you like to read, Jeremy?
I like Wolverine. I think that was really when I said, a few years ago, I reached out to Brian because I saw his comic. I wanted to get into comics. I've always been a Wolverine fan. I think it's kind of like my personality, right? It's like Ron Swanson meets like a superhero.
I've
Right?
never heard anybody compare Wolverine to Ron Swanson before.
Does
but
it make sense?
It's kind of accurate.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't want to talk to anybody. I want to do my thing. I'm very good at the thing that I do,
Right.
like the
Yes.
woodworking and things like that. But yeah, I've always been a Wolverine fan, and so I started collecting some comics, and then also I guess you would still call it collecting, doing like comicsology and things like that.
Yeah.
For some of the things that like, one of my like bucket list things is to own the first the comic where Wolverine was first present, which it was a Hulk number, I think like 63 or
180.
180. Okay.
He was in one panel, the last panel of
Yeah.
issue 180, and then his first full-length appearance is issue 181. Not that I would know.
Yeah.
Not
Well-
that I spent like 15 years in the comic shop. So
Right. But
That's right. You used to
I mean-
own a comic shop, didn't you?
yeah, and I used to
Yeah.
manage a couple
Did you-
others. So yeah.
did you ever see that comic like in the flesh?
Oh yeah, I mean you know how much I paid for mine at the time?
Do you
the
have it?
cover price.
Oh gosh.
Dude,
How
I'm
much?
ancient.
Yeah.
Whatever the cover price was, I think it was like 20
Yeah,
15,
that's-
20 cents or something like
that's
that.
I mean, it's like
painful.
$1,000 now for that.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
I've
and
looked on eBay and I'm like, I can't do that. I can't pay $1,000 for a comic.
you say that now, but wait till this podcast takes off.
I
And my
know.
audience gets a hold of
Yeah.
you.
The
just,
first
start 'em
$1,000 I
back
make is gonna go for that.
Yeah, man.
and get that thing slabbed immediately. So
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah,
But I
no.
have is it Frank Miller? Didn't he do like a?
He did a miniseries with Wolverine. Yeah.
I have
Kitty-
that
Yeah,
That's the
not Kitty
collection
Pryde
that I
Wolverine.
have
Yeah, the Wolverine. You're right. You're right.
in
Yeah.
like the complete collection of that one,
Mhm.
which I think is like 12 or 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have that, but those are the only physical comics that I have.
Yeah.
So you're more into the digital stuff then.
Yeah.
collecting.
It's just like I didn't know where to go. And I know we have a lot of comic book stores in Louisville, which is great.
Yeah.
I just didn't know at the time, like, where do I go to get these things? And so the physical comics that I have actually got online. And I didn't go to the comics store, which now I wish that I would have found a place locally, especially now. We need to patronize those people as much as possible so they stay open.
Yeah,
So-
they're facing some tough times right
Yeah.
now, which
For
is
sure.
probably a whole nother show.
Yeah.
Which we will probably have after the first of the year. We're working on it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's cool though. That's cool. Brian, what about you? Now being a comic book creator.
Indeed. Yeah. I love Batman, but Batman is not my favorite comic. I have some of my favorite graphic novels are Batman related, but my favorite comic, it's actually tied between Hellboy and the Hellboy universe. So the Hellboy BPRD, all its spin-offs and everything by Mike Mignola. And and I absolutely adore Sandman by Neil Gaiman. Those
Best
two
comics
are
ever.
my all-time favorites. Absolutely love them. There's so much creativity with, Sandman. You have an amazing prose writer who just swept comics, and created this new way of making them and writing them and laying out pages. And it was just, such a beautiful story. And then you've got Mike Mignola, who is a master at storytelling in general, and just pulling from different folk tales and bringing up pretty much the entire encyclopedia of folk tales all over the world and bringing it into this one huge storyline that he's such a great world builder. Both of them are, but yeah, no, that those two are tied for my favorite comic series of all time. I'm actually working on the collectors, the library editions of both. Just good bookshelf porn. So for sure. but no, yeah,
other porn we talk about on here.
Hashtag dino porn.
I wasn't gonna say
that's weird.
Google it, Jeremy. Google it.
No, don't.
Don't want to. Don't want to.
Oh my God! Don't do it. Let's see, do I have it on here? This is the face of someone who did.
Yeah, that's weird.
Oh,
yeah.
And actually, hashtag 50 Shades of Christian may or may not be making an appearance upon the Dingoes podcast sometime soon.
Yep.
Really?
Indeed.
Yep.
Yes.
You heard it here. That's
indeed.
Gonna be fun.
It will be fun.
Yeah. I was a handful. You wait till he shows up. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast.
And I'm sure he's excited too, probably in that way we can't talk about even on the nighttime show. So anyway, Rick Bradley would like to know, question for both of you. What's your favorite nerd movie?
Brian, you take this one. I got to think about it.
As far as nerd movie.
Not it.
I mean, I guess like, do you mean like nerd movie, like about nerds? I don't know. I'm going to go with just a nerdy movie, right? Yeah. Well, there's movies about nerds. So, right. No, but right. I got to go with my all-time favorite movies, and it's Lord of the Rings. All three of them are phenomenal. And yes, Jeremy, I count all three as one favorite movie. It drives him crazy, and I love it. No, but
let's grow up and pick one.
No, I won't.
Don't make me separate you.
You know it's the Two Towers.
It is not the Two Towers because it's all three of them. That's right, sir.
Whatever.
It's what. Look, it was originally written as one book, and then his publishers made him split it up. So I am simply just. All right,
separating us. Oh, switcheroo. And I was like, oh, I get it now. You're playing referee.
Indeed. Yes. Yeah. All right. Well, I've composed myself now, but no, yeah, it is Lord of the Rings. I absolutely love that story. It is. I watched at least twice a year, and I love the books. I love Middle Earth. I love everything that Tolkien's done or did, and I am actually one that will sit and read the Silmarillion because it is, it's literally like reading the dictionary at some parts, but it's a fascinating dictionary, and I love it. Jeremy, you'd love it too. Doesn't that sound appealing to you?
Yeah.
Way to temper your excitement, Jeremy.
I have read parts of a lot of books, but I have a short attention span.
Usually the beginning and then the last page.
Yeah, I just skip to the end.
If you like books that you can't remember, want to go back and reread them.
There you go.
I'm slowly trying to be more of a reader. Again, it's the attention span. Like, I read a lot. It's just like internet articles, like I need can you do it in 3,000 words? If not, I don't know if I can finish it, and I'm sorry. I need to be better about that.
Look what social media has done to you.
I know.
Good grief.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
Sorry.
I mean, in my case, my lips get tired, so.
Oh, gross.
That wasn't what I meant, but now that I think about it, though.
Yes. Oh, it's great. I'm just excited we got this man to lick a spine on this episode. That makes me happy. Can you send that little clip to me later on at some point? I would love that.
Yeah. No problem. Carl Witzman, report to HR. We have a job for you. We get to the time signatures later. City Cap asks, what do you call a boomerang that doesn't come back? A stick.
Wait. Rad. So I would say my nerdy movie is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
Yes, Secret of the Ooze.
I love the first three, and I actually really like the newer ones that were made. I liked the new take on the way that they looked. I thought that was really cool. Yeah. But I think the first three, it's so unique that they're like three completely different movies. The first one is so dark and grimy, and I love that about it. The second one is just
they flipped the switch of kid movie.
Yeah, absolutely insane. And then the third one, they go back in time, and it's like,
great.
What is happening?
Yeah.
But I love all three of them, but my favorite is definitely the second one. I probably have seen that 200 times, something like that.
Yeah.
Like 180 of them came when I was like, 6 to 12, and I've watched it several times since then.
Couple times, yeah. It sounds like
every time we went to the movie store, it's like Ninja Turtles 2.
And your parents are like, "I will burn it."
Yeah.
Stop.
I have to sit through that thing one more time.
Right.
Slowly I turn, step by step, inch by inch. Rick Bradley would like to know, what advice do you have for starting a podcast?
Start it.
Yeah. Just do it. For sure. I mean, I think really with anything in general, just start doing it and put it out there.
Yeah.
And social media is key in this. I would say get it out there, promote it, meet people, and genuinely be interested in what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, this is rising tide, right? Like, get involved in a community of creators, support each other, and then while you're doing that, start your own thing. And I think that, as far as the nuts and bolts, Jeremy, do you know what? I know Andrew Morris said something about like you could even start doing it on your phone, and they have apps and stuff that can just edit it for you.
Anchor is an app that you have on your phone, and there is some editing that it can do, but really Anchor, it was promoted heavily by Gary Vaynerchuk, so it's really like bare bones sort of thing where you just talk into a microphone and it shoots it out to people that are subscribed to your channel or whatever. But yeah, I mean, there's Anchor. I mean, I would say obviously microphone. I will definitely plug these headphones that I found for Brian and I.
Yeah.
They're good headphones. It's a decent microphone all built together, and it's like $60. It's called Corsair is the company, but it's called the Void Elite. And it's a gaming headset. I wanted something like really simple and easy for us to be able to just plug in and go. So I think that's a great option. It's under $70, which is great. Because the other option is getting a nice microphone and getting an interface and things like that. And yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's an investment, and sometimes people like that's a huge barrier to entry. Is that I don't have $1,000 to spend on stuff.
Right.
You're not me who like that's my whole world, and have that technology. But yeah, I think just start it. Something I think Brian, you said it once, and it's stuck with me, or maybe I heard somebody say it, but finished, not perfect. I think I think is really important. And like we've already said, the first season, it was just like I felt like I felt out of control the whole time, and it was difficult for me to like handle that. But I think that's a crucible that everybody needs to go through, because I think that it weeds out people that just think it would be a fun thing to have a podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You really find out when you start and you just push through and you release them and you listen to so much unsolicited advice. I remember one guy who's a mutual friend of both Brian and I listened to it, and he was like, "You guys laugh too much," and I was like, "Oh." Like for like a
Yeah.
week, I was like really down about it. I was like, do we just suck at a podcast? Like, do they not want us to be happy? Like, I'm trying to figure that out. But then I realized quickly, like, I don't care.
Yeah. And
These
really
people
what
think-
my idea was just like, we just do it. The whole episode, the next episode, just the whole
Yeah.
thing is a laugh track. It's just
Hey, whoever gave him that advice.
Right, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and I would even say like a big part of doing a podcast is find your niche.
Yeah.
And run with that. Like don't try to do stuff that you aren't familiar with. Don't try to do everything. Don't try to do a bunch of, just pick the one thing that you're passionate about and run with it and talk about it and do research on it, continue to be, and have fun. My goodness, have fun. Because if you're not having fun, nobody's going to have fun watching you or listening to you.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it. If you're not enjoying yourself, if people can't see that you're enjoying yourself, then that to me, I wouldn't want to be doing a podcast if I didn't think it was a ton of fun jumping on here with my friend and interviewing people and laughing and having a great time. If we weren't doing those things, then I wouldn't want to be here anyway.
Right.
So find your thing and run with it.
I think it's important also to, like Brian said, figure out that thing that you are passionate about, that you want to do, but then also find other people that are doing that thing.
Right.
Like it used to be that you could start something and be like the only person doing it in the podcast world, but that's just unrealistic now.
Mm-hmm.
There are other nerdy podcasts out there. There are other nerdy YouTube channels out there. So find those things, engage with the people that are engaging on those platforms. Don't be a door-to-door salesman, like, and just go on there and drop your link and say, watch my show. Like, don't do that, but engage with people, have conversations, start conversations with people, join. Not only, so say it's you want to do a nerdy podcast, which welcome, let's do it. We can both do it. There's enough people out there. But so join groups about nerdy things on Facebook. Also join podcast groups on Facebook. There are some that will not let you self-promote. And there's and some of those will have like a day. It says like, hey, over the weekend you can promote yourself. Do that. Again, engage with other people. Actually listen and comment and engage with other people. And then when you have the opportunity, like, promote your podcast. I would say instead of just dropping a link again in a feed that is going to end up being like 350 comments or more, like, pick a person that has already dropped their feed and say, and like go and listen to one of their episodes and say, hey, this is the episode. I liked this episode. I like what you said here. Check out mine. I think you get a lot more people who are willing to do that. I've even like, screenshot a comment that I've made, or the fact that I've subscribed to their channel on YouTube or something like that. Just saying like, hey, look, I like your stuff. why don't you listen to mine? I think that's really good way to get some traction early on. I think that's something that we're finding now. In the last couple of months, we've probably grown 50 people in the last month and a half or something like that. So
yeah, and really, like, with to piggyback on that, you meet a lot of great people doing this.
Yeah.
Like, you really meet a lot of awesome folks like that become your friends. So it's not just like a networking thing to just use people to gain likes or whatever. It is genuinely like building friendships, building a community. I mean, honestly, like I don't know, 4 months ago when I stumbled upon Never Mind the Furthermore, I had no idea what it was about, but you were an awesome individual, Brian, who I enjoyed, watching in the mornings, and then slowly started entering into the chat and the comment section, and found a really cool community here with the now clever Morians this evening. And so we're really like, this is a great group of people, but now we've had you on our show and we're on yours, and it's very much we're friends and we're supporting each other, and that's what this is about. And we're all able to get out here and do the thing that we love and support each other and have fun together.
I think you guys touched on a lot of great points just now in the last 2 minutes. It's not just for podcasts, but also for prose, for comic books, music, any sort of creative endeavor. Find what you love to do, and find the people who also love the same thing and become friends. Like you mentioned, Never Mind the Furthermore. I'm not going to say that it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 because that would be TV for my show. But anyway, but no, and always promote. That's another thing. But but no, the people, I encourage people to drop links in that show. But the people I found who do the best are the people. Like you, Brian, you stay and you talk to people. Rick Bradley, he stays and he talks to people. But I get people all the time that's like, interview me on the morning show. No, that's not the way it works. It's like we want to put we want to turn like the CBS Evening News into a Western. No, that's kind of changing the format that made it popular. So people that come in and actually engage with other people in a positive way. Like you guys have done. You've both been on the morning show, and you've both engaged with my audience. I call it my audience for lack of a more precise term, but it's like you guys have engaged with them, and I think a lot of people will, after tonight, will check out your show. And another thing about finding your people, it's non-competitive. If anything, like with you guys, maybe I'm off base on this, but when you connect with other podcasters, sure, you're going to pick up stuff from each other, because you always trade best practices in whatever you do. But it's not like well, they've got like 200 more subscribers on iTunes than I do. I must wreak vengeance, and it's like we both have YouTube channels, and mine's just had an explosion, and I'm like,
which is awesome, by the way. That's so cool, man. Yes.
Yeah, I'm gobsmacked because it keeps coming, and I don't know how it happened. I'm afraid to ask why. It's like a hummingbird flies because it doesn't know it can't, but sort of thing.
I did create an OnlyFans page for you. That might have helped. I'm not sure.
Good. I've got content, brother. I know you do.
Like George Costanza from Seinfeld. Those pictures, the sexy pictures that he did.
Covered just body oil and everything. It's gonna
we're getting out the Crisco later. It'll be great. You'll love it, folks. It'll be worth your $20 a month. But no, it's like my hope tonight is that my explosion will give more people an eyeballs on what you guys do, and you do it so freaking well. I love it, and I would love it if you guys passed me up.
That's the thing. Like, it's not that. That's the great part about it when you have the right people. Coming together and jumping on this roller coaster that we're on together. It's a lot of fun. It's not about competition. It's about lifting each other up. And honestly, like, there's so much room at the table for creative endeavors. Like, you can't ever have enough comic creators. You can't ever have enough podcasters, because everybody has their own individual original voice and opinion and perspective to bring to the table. So there, like what we do, on the Dastardly Dingoes, like somebody else may be doing a similar show, but guess what? They're not us and we're not them. And so they're going to say things that are great and just what they would come up with, and we would do the same from our side. So, and why not in that, instead of, being this weird competitive thing, why don't we just jump in this together, support each other, and celebrate the other person? That's, I think that's the only real way to do this and do it well.
Yeah, I think people all the time are ragging on social media, but I think it makes it easier now than ever before to find a community.
Yeah.
I really believe that. I think in the last couple of years, I have made more friends doing things like connecting on Facebook than I have with my friends who I've been friends with since the 5th grade. Like, I've done more with these new people than I have with the people that were in my wedding. It will just say, like, something as important as the people in my wedding. Like, some of them I haven't talked to in years. So yeah, I think now more than ever before, it's so easy to find a community of people that are the same as you, but obviously there's going to be some uniqueness there, but who have like the same interests, like shared interests and things like that. So
and the same values.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned becoming friends with people that you interact with. I'm sure you've had people that come up to you and it's like, well, trying to catch a little bit of the magic that you guys do, but you can tell that's why they're there. They're there to get some of the reflected glory, or just some of your mojo, and that's all they want.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that those kind of sort themselves out pretty quickly. And right now, like you said, Jeremy, this is right now is the best time to start something. Especially right now, we have got, in essence, for the next couple months, a captive audience.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because, like, you look back in history at different times when there was a plague or there was something like that. What came out of that was a renaissance of art, of all different kinds of, all different kinds. And what's happening here is the same thing. It's no different. The art scene is booming, especially on the indie level right now, because people are trapped at home. People are, some of the worst times in history create the best art. And it brings some of the best art out of the worst times. And I think that is just because artists, that's how we express ourselves. And now we've got a whole new way to express ourselves in art form, which is this weird podcast thing, right? That now everybody's jumping on this, and this is great because it's a way we can all connect. It's a way we can all still be involved, still interact, and really, help a lot of people who are depressed, who are struggling right now. I mean, Brian, you and I have talked about this a couple times. We even talked about it on our episode, I think, that it's just, for those of us who can struggle with depression, this has been a lifesaver, stuff like this. I mean, like, I was really, really low during the summer when I discovered Nevermind the Furthermore. And I can't tell you how many times I've told my wife this show, this community has done so much for me just by being able to get out of bed, while I'm working my day job. I have it on and I'm able to, every now and then jump in there and jump in the chat and just enjoy the community experience from my office at home. And it's I think that this format, this, the podcast, the interactive Facebook Live stuff, it's saving a lot of people. Really.
Yeah, and I think from a technical standpoint, I I cut my teeth in the podcast editing world. My previous job, I was a podcast editor. So 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, I was listening to podcast. The company, we did post-production editing on podcast. And I could tell, and we saw some of the studios that people were recording these in, and I mean, like thousands of dollars went into these studios, and again, like that's a huge barrier for entry for a lot of people. I don't have the money. I don't know what to spend money on. Well, now because of the pandemic, I think it's forced us to do some things, and also I think people are just like way more chill. Where I think before people would be kind of like snotty and they're listening to a podcast that was recorded with a $60 gaming headset and they're like, oh my gosh, these are such amateurs. Well, now, yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
And now the whole world is communicating on Zoom. Kids are learning on Zoom. Meetings are happening on Zoom. And so I think it's kind of like lowered the bar in a really great way to say, like, you don't have to have $1,000 microphones and things like that. You just get a gaming headset and start doing it. And I think that's cool. I think it's made it a lot more fun for people who are really creative but don't have the know-how to build a studio.
Are really creative and don't have a Jeremy. That's me.
Yeah. I'm a self-made man, just like Frankenstein's creature, pretty much. So, yeah,
or Santa's sign.
Or Santa's sign, yes, available on Amazon. Hashtag always promote, but no, and I think technology now has really democratized the creative process. Like I talk about in publishing. 20 years ago, only the big companies, comics and books, knew how to put out these things, how to promote these things. And now anybody with a Google account can learn the same stuff. I mean, I own 10 ISBN numbers that I can create. 20 years ago, I wouldn't have known how to get an ISBN number. I went to Google. I think I mentioned the secret site on your show. But speaking of your show, great point, guys, all of it. So anyway, guys and gals, if you got a yen to do this stuff, just get busy and do it now.
Get busy.
Yeah, get your feet in now, and and it's
that was for you, Jeremy.
Yeah, and it can suck. Is anyone who's seen the first 3 years of my broadcast can attest?
Look, here's what let me speak to that for just a second.
Okay.
My comic, I do a comic called Memoirs of an Angel, and
it's good stuff.
Well, thank you. The first 3 issues, I had no idea. They did not look like that. Which, by the way, that cover is the variant cover by Kaylin Smith. Fantastic creator. We're hopefully going to have her on the show next season. She's awesome. And she's doing the cover for the next issue as well. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. But anyway, like the first 3 issues of the series, they're only available on the website, on the store. They weren't in color. Half the artwork is different. It was because I had no idea what I was doing. And I was literally learning as I went. And then once I found the right tools and I had what I needed, boom, it took off. And I was able to I redid them and all in color, all digitally. And then I've just been trucking along ever since. And, I've talked to a few people the last week or two who have been getting the newest issue that we did on Kickstarter a couple months ago. And they've just been saying very kind things about how, from issue 1 to issue 6, they see the progress that's made in different areas. And that's what it's about. You're gonna suck. You're gonna suck when you first start. And that's just how it is. But it's okay, because we all suck when we first start. You're gonna have to do it to get to a place where you don't suck anymore.
Well, then after you don't suck anymore, you have every creative has imposter syndrome,
Yeah.
and we think we still suck even though we don't.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So like there's two big hurdles that you have to get over, and then you're going to start enjoying what you do. But
Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah, and by the way, December 22nd, we are going to have a return visit to exploring imposter syndrome.
Yes.
We're
Yeah.
going to be talking about that again. So stay
It's
tuned.
really
it's a real thing,
topic.
man.
Yeah, and it's
It
a topic
is.
that we need to be talking about more, especially in indie circles. But I
Yep.
mean, everybody deals with it. You know, it is literally the fear that I don't belong here, and some people are going to find out that I don't belong here. It's bullcrap. Nobody. There aren't any. That's one of the best things about technology in this age is there aren't any gatekeepers anymore to tell you
Yeah.
don't belong here.
Mhm.
You belong here. You belong at the table. The table's big enough for everybody.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I say that, but I struggle with imposter syndrome all the time. It's
Yeah.
and that's honestly what the community like this, like the Rising Tide community, the never the Clevermorians, the Nevermorians, it's a great place to be a part of because it's a nice reminder from people who care and who are struggling with it on their own as well that
Yeah.
hey, we're all in this together and you belong here.
Yeah.
Right.
Every
Yeah.
single thing that I make, I think it sucks every single time.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
not a time where I'm like, that's awesome. It's just what am I doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to get another job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be poor.
With the comic, like I've finally started getting to a place where like I'm somewhat pleased with the pages that I'm creating. And now I'm feeling like something's wrong because I'm feeling that way. Right?
Yeah.
Like but I feel like you're supposed to hate what you do, right? Like you're supposed to think it sucks. And
Yeah.
I felt that way this whole time. And the last issue or two I've been like, "Oh, I like how this turned out." You're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
You know, it's just you're
Where's
not
that
allowed.
sense of self-loathing you need? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you're supposed to run, go, cry in the corner after you draw a page or create a
Yeah.
podcast episode
Yeah.
about how much you suck.
Yeah.
And that's bogus. No, get to a point where you enjoy it and be pleased with what you're doing. And like Jeremy said earlier, finished, not perfect. Once you get that through your head, it frees you in many, many ways.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if anybody is listening to this and they need any sort of like technical advice or anything like that, please message me.
Please
This-
don't message me
This is
because
my
I will not be able to help you.
No.
this is my favorite thing in the whole world.
Yeah.
Is the technical side of things and figuring out lighting and things like that and how to get the most bang for your buck. I've always wanted to start like my own YouTube channel where I'm talking about this. I just don't have time. But if you message me, I promise I will answer and I will give you more information than you were probably wanting. So I'm sorry ahead of time, but yeah, just reach out, please.
Yeah, that's a very generous offer. Folks, when you get a chance to find a mentor, a willing mentor, that's gold. That really is. And that's part of what inspired the Rising Tide philosophy in me.
Yeah.
The fact that I got a lot of advice from people who didn't have to take the time to do it.
Right. Right.
And
And I was gonna say I've had people reach out to me about how to get started on comics and I enjoy helping other people. Other people have enjoyed helping me. There have been a few pivotal figures that in the early stages and even still that I'll go to and just kind of pick their brain. And it's just it's a great community to be a part of. It's every now and then you'll run into somebody that's a jerk and doesn't want to help you, but just move on to the next person.
Yeah.
There are a lot more people willing to help you than not in this community.
seriously.
Yeah, when you're in Facebook, there's always going to be the person that like yells at you for asking a question in like a Facebook group. But I have not found a group where there's more of those people Like for the most part, those guys, there's like 3 or 4 guys in every group, and it's just their life's goal to be a troll. They're just trolls.
Yeah.
And fine, you say whatever you want to. I've developed a thick enough skin now that I just kind of like wade through the crap until I find somebody who's actually going to answer a question for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
there's a great GIF that you can use to respond to trolls, and it is Troll in the Dungeon from Harry Potter. I love it.
GIF.
It's so much. That's how you say it. It's how you
so
say it.
Much.
GIF. It's not GIF. It's GIF, sir.
GIF is a type of peanut butter.
It's a delicious type of peanut butter.
It is.
I love it. But it's also the thing. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah. Expert.
It's a GIF,
Like the pictures that move.
Yeah, they're moving pictures. They're nice.
Yeah, and Jeremy, later Brian will be giving a review of that 12-part Marvel movie.
Yeah.
That took 10 years to make and watch. Yeah. But so don't make me separate you two again. Cindy Kemp would like to know, drop some names. Who have you interviewed? Well, you've already confessed to interviewing me. That's pretty brave. Who else have you had?
Let's see. I'll give you a little tease of who's coming next.
I'm glad you added that.
Yeah. Christian.
Shut up, Christian.
Shut up, Christian. No, we just recently interviewed Travis Jones from the Blazing Defender Report. He knows more about comics than I'll ever know. I'd actually like to see a head-to-head between you and him, Brian, because he knows his stuff, man.
Yeah, he's an encyclopedia for sure.
He is, and it's so funny. I love it because he completely destroys the stereotype. He's like a meathead. Yeah. Like he's for muscle upon muscle, former, like he's a retired firefighter, and bodybuilder, and loves guns. One of the biggest nerds I have ever met, and one of the nicest people I've ever met. Like he is so cool, such a good friend. So we had him. We also recently interviewed Nathan Thomas Milner, who has done quite a few films and comics, and he actually was the artist for Scream Factory when they re-released the Blu-rays of the Halloween series. One, I think he did two, 3, maybe 4. He did the Blu-ray covers for those, and so he's done a few others, a few other posters and things, and he directs phenomenal films. Jeremy. Who else do we have?
We were going to interview Nathan. We did that last Friday. I was on my way home from vacation because I got home and walked downstairs and turned on my computer and then we did the interview.
Yeah.
We were in Memphis, and so my wife, who is wonderful, Sarah, I love you for listening to this. We were on our way home. She was driving, and I had my headphones in, and I was just because I wanted to do some research before we interviewed this guy, and I watched 2 of the short films that he did, and they're just incredible. Mm-hmm. They really are. One of them is called Confessions of Fred Krueger, and so it's like he is in the he's in the police station, and the detectives are interviewing him.
It's before he dies. It's like a prequel to the first movie.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Before he dies. And it was so like captivating and intense. And I've recently watched Nightmare on Elm Street for the first time. Mm-hmm. And again, I know I'm going to make some people angry. That movie is hot garbage. I hated it so much.
Send your hate mail to Jeremy Woodring at.
It just sucked.
We look forward to your emails at Dastardly Dingo podcast.
But Nathan's short film about the Confessions of Fred Krueger was 100 times more captivating than Nightmare on Elm Street. It was just great. And he also did a Star Wars fan film called The Hand of the Empire. I think is what it's called, and it was incredible too, and it was a lot of fun talking to him on that interview about that process because like I'm not in the like film production arena. It's something that I've always wanted to be a part of, but I've been more like small scale things. So it was really it was a lot of fun to interview him, and I can't say enough great things about him. He's just a freaking genius and a hugely talented artist and
a humble
director.
guy. Like he's just a really nice person. Really, he's actually and we talk about this on the episode. He's the guy who gave me my first break in comics. Kind of mentored me and how to what the industry was like. Gave me some really good advice. He ended up writing the introduction to my first trade paperback. And he's just a really, really kind, really good dude and stupid talented. Like one of the most talented people I know. So, yeah. And let's see other people that we've interviewed. We do have Christian Basil coming up. And then we on Friday or Thursday, something like that. I don't remember. Right. And let's see, we had Andrew Morris, who is the creator and host of What the Niche podcast, which we brought up a couple times in the episode already. His podcast is such a cool. I keep saying, I think I've said it on Nevermind the Furthermore before. It's going to be one day an NPR segment. It just will. Yeah. Like it already leans itself that way. The quality of it is there. It's his voice. He has that very soothing NPR voice. And he does such a good job. The whole purpose of the podcast is getting people on talking about their niche and what the misconceptions are about what they do and who they are and what they look like. And like for me, he interviewed me earlier in the year, and I'm a Christian, and so the topic was, okay, you're a Christian, but you're also a comic creator. What stereotypes, what misconceptions do people bring to the table about that? Like, and my big thing is my comic is not any kind of family friendly whatsoever. And most of the time in Christian entertainment, you see that. And so we talked about that. So that's just kind of an example of how and right now he's been walking through a series on women in horror. And it's been a phenomenal month of episodes about this, in this series, just promoting the ladies that work so hard in the horror industry.
And with 2 years of doing post-production on tons of podcasts, his is one of the most polished podcasts I've ever listened to. Yeah. And he does it all himself, which is crazy. It just goes to show how much care he is putting into it. One of my favorite people that we have interviewed, his name is Chad Nuss.
The Nuss.
When I first saw his comic, I was absolutely blown away. I don't think I've ever seen more detail in a comic ever. And I know that I have low experience, but I think Brian, you would say the same thing. I mean, it's just so detailed.
His style is very similar to Jim Lee. Very, very similar to Jim Lee, and it's all black and white. He's recently started doing color, and it makes me sick because he just picked it up, and he's
he was like, "I'm gonna color this now."
Yeah, he's like, "I've never colored before," and he showed me the first one he did like 2 days after he bought he bought a tablet and stuff to color digitally. He showed me the first thing. I'm like, "Oh, shut up! Just stop it! You make me sick, sir."
Well, he didn't even ink digitally, right?
No, he inks traditionally. Yeah,
right. He penciled it and inked it, and it looked incredible. And now, like Brian said, he just like picked up in like a day how to do all of that digitally, and that's wild.
And he's a chef too. This is he's just it's sickening. It really is. It's
and
just
a surgeon and Damn
Yeah.
those people. Man, they're just sick.
Yeah.
And here I am struggling with StreamYard. So
Yeah.
His
but-
comic is called The Silence. You
Yes,
should check it
and
out.
Jeremy did the promo video for the
right.
advertisement that's going on right now, and it is
Very cool.
phenomenal. It's very,
Yeah.
very good.
I had a
I-
lot of fun with it.
I really
I
think
learned
we-
so many. I learned so many cool things. Like
Yeah.
I just got to play around and learn some cool techniques. And then he was so nice. He was like, "Yeah, just make something that looks cool." I was like, "Okay." It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Well,
We need to get Jeremy Woodring and Jeffrey Hayes together to make
Oh my
something.
goodness.
I feel like the world would explode because it would be so good. Because
I
both
should
of
be
those
great
guys.
for that. Yeah.
Jeffrey Hayes,
Uh,
the Plasma Fire graphic.
yeah.
Plasma Fire
yeah.
graphics when the look of your book matters to you.
Indeed. Indeed. He's so talented. Such a nice guy, too.
Yeah.
He recently picked up the whole series of Memoirs of an Angel and
Oh,
you know,
nice.
and had some really nice things to say. He's just such a solid guy. Really,
He is
really
cool.
enjoyed
He
talking
really
to
is.
him. Yeah.
Let's see. Now, Cindy Kep asks, why did the emu cross the road to prove he wasn't a chicken? Now, why did the dingo cross the road twice? Because he was a double crosser.
Ah, yes.
I love it.
And here we go. Pardon me, folks. Rick Bradley
Do you
has
have
another
the
question.
coronavirus?
Yeah, I must.
Do you?
No,
Yeah.
no, I got a flu shot late last week,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't normally have a bad reaction to it.
Yeah.
And I didn't let anyone know this at the time because I had a show. I was on Ron Fitzgerald's show that night.
Mhm.
But like about 20 minutes before I was supposed to log in, suddenly I was racked with chills. My temperature was 102, and I couldn't control my hands. They were shaking badly. Other than that, I was fine. And a little bit dizzy and everything, but I powered through it.
Yeah.
And aside from wearing a sweater, nobody knew I was feeling anything.
Yeah,
It's
that's good.
crazy how you can have those kind of reactions to flu shots and stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's literally like, oh, well, here, have the flu shot. You'll get the flu for like an hour and then you'll be fine. And it's
Yeah.
really strange how that works.
I used to about 10 years ago. I worked at Humana, obviously, a health insurance company, and so they were offering free vaccinations, and you could do it on like work time, and it was great. I've always been a fairly healthy guy, so I didn't really ever think about doing like flu vaccinations yearly. My wife is a doctor, and so I do that now because I have been told the importance of it. But at the time, it was like free vaccinations. Okay, cool. So I went and I told the nurse, I was like, "Can you just give them all to me now?" And there were like 3 or 4 shots. And
Yeah.
she was like, "Are you sure about this?" I was like, "Yeah, why not? What's going to be the problem?"
You're going to implode.
104.3 was where my fever got, and I was hallucinating.
Yes.
And
What were you seeing? Do you remember?
no, I was just talking out of my mind. Like,
that's sad.
like it wasn't like I
Man.
was seeing images.
I
was
wanted a
just like,
good story,
I know.
Jeremy.
Yeah.
Jeez. You
I-
can't throw out a number like that with a temperature and not have a fun story.
one of the only memories I have is sitting in the shower with ice cold water and a rag over top of my head. Like, and it's because Sarah put me in there because I
Yeah.
was dying. I was dying.
Yeah.
What did she say to you when she found out that you took all the
she
shots
was
at
like,
once?
"God, idiot,
Yeah.
idiot." It's like on Everybody Loves Raymond when she what's his wife's name?
We'll just
Anyway.
call her Raymond's wife.
Raymond's wife.
Yeah.
She all the time she's like, "Idiot, idiot." That's exactly what Sarah did. Idiot.
Like, are you guys spying on me and Cookie? That's all I hear. I was a little concerned. When I hit 102, all I could remember was when I was like 8 years old and my mom was working, and so my grandmother, who was a nurse, she was taking care of me during the day because we couldn't afford like a real babysitter. And Grandma, while I'm sitting there in the worst agony I'd known in my life up to that point, was telling me, "Oh, you're at 102. Do you realize 3 more degrees and your brain will cook itself?"
Oh,
And
good. Yes.
What?
Really? Grandma?
Thank you for telling me that.
Yeah, it's like
Oh gosh.
precision.
That's funny.
So I kept thinking about that, and but y'all know it's like couple. By the next morning, my fever was gone.
Yeah.
Except for a little congestion and this cough, which I always get every time I get some sort of upper respiratory thing. But no, when I worked for the water company, one of my jobs was to give our district the annual flu shot to arrange
cool.
for it to be done. And I had a guy from the Center for Disease Control come in one day and talk to us about how flu shots were made and the importance of them. So yeah, I believe in the flu shot, and
Yeah.
We're not going to go into a vaxxer thing here now.
Right.
Consider that I am the damn expert on it, and the case is closed. Anyway,
That's great.
we ended that debate pretty quickly, by
Yep.
God. And Rick Bradley would like to know, well, who was the most famous person you interviewed, and how did that come about?
Well, I'm going to say right off the bat that it came about because of Brian. Because every week I'm like, who are we interviewing? And it's somebody that Brian knows. Like, I'm just the guy that shows up and starts recording things. I'm the one that always has to do do research on, okay, who is this person? Things like that. So yeah, anything that has happened with famous people coming on the show, it's because of Brian. Because I don't know anybody. I stay in my basement.
Yes, and I am a social
Butterfly.
I was going to use a different word, but yes, that's great. Sure, we'll say that too. No, I love people, and I love interacting with people, and I think that's just my personality. I'm one of those weird people that actually enjoy others, and and so because of that, in the last 5 years of doing comics, I've been able to meet a lot of really interesting people, really cool people, and strike up friendships with them. And probably the most famous person is probably Nathan Thomas Milner. He's the most well known in the indie crowd.
That's safe to say, for
sure.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty safe to say. And it came about because what we've already said with Nate. Nate and I go back to 2010 was when I met him, and I was we had a mutual friend who knew that I wanted to do comics, and so him and Nate, Nate had already been doing comics for years in the indie scene, and so he and I connected. He gave me that first shot, kind of mentored me during that stage, and ever since, he and I just kept in touch, and I've been thankful for his friendship, and he's a great guy. He's a great guy. If you haven't seen, if you're not familiar with his work, you can go to YouTube and watch two movies that we mentioned, The Confessions of Fred Krueger and Star Wars: Hand of the Empire, both on YouTube for free. And because Star Wars was actually a charity film for Children's Hospital here in Louisville. So it was, and they're both great. So yeah.
Super. Well, we've got some comments here. Grant Lankard, glad you're here. Michaela Jade, we'll have a comment from her in a moment. And Russell Allen, pardon me, good evening, gentlemen. Russell Allen, noticed that your Kickstarter just launched while we were on the air. So please check out RussExplodeStudio.com. Check out Xeno Nanite Titan. Yes. On Kickstarter. It is now live, and good luck with that, Russell. Yay. Pardon me. And Michaela Jade is weighed in here. Look at those sexy beards. Oh my.
Well then, hey Jeremy, let's get up close. Look at it.
Let me get this out of the way here. There we go.
Bring it closer. There it is.
Holy cats. I could clean a pot with that. Anyway.
You probably could. It'd probably be pretty effective.
Probably.
Yeah, back when I had one too. I understand this. And Sarah, you was teaching us we better be careful what we say. I'd love to do this, and I have all the equipment. # under the sheets. Thanks for that quote, Brian Rodman.
Anytime.
Perfect.
Oh, that's perfect.
And all the time. That's the problem. Anyway, Cindy
man.
Cap, what's a koala's favorite drink? Coca-Cola.
That's good. Cindy, are you coming up with these off the
She
top of your
does,
head,
man.
or do you have a
She's
list?
amazing.
I don't
She's
know.
a magnet
you
for
know
this
what?
stuff.
Don't, Cindy, don't ever answer that. I want to just. I imagine that Cindy has like she just sits on a mountain of like jokes inside fortune cookies,
Yeah.
and she'll just pick it up, and it's all that's my image of Cindy Kep. Like that's who I think she is, and I never want it to be shattered.
I mean,
In my
it sounds
mind,
very
that's how it works.
rational and
Yeah, exactly.
possible, yeah.
I think it's very possible.
And I want to think of it as she has an altar at the edge of a volcano. She's wearing a totally knitted tribal gown with a dagger poised above an innocent virgin.
Yeah, because she's like she's an awesome knitter, right?
Yeah, she is.
Yeah,
She's amazing.
Sweet.
She or actually crocheter. She does.
Oh,
knitting,
that's
but she
okay.
also-
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were on a show. I've told this story before, but we were on the very first indie event special, and we had like an after show. And she just started with this little thing here about the size of like a coaster that she was crocheting.
Yeah.
Which is pretty tough because knitting you've got 2 needles, with crocheting you've got 1.
Yeah.
And she just sat there and we're all just yak. And we look up and suddenly it's about the size of a placemat. Then a couple of minutes later it's about the size of a Buick.
Yeah.
And it just keeps expanding like some unholy thing that's going to take over the entire globe or something, which it might still yet do.
I hope it does.
I do too. I'm waiting for our crocheted masters to take over from the inky depths. But anyway, Cindy Gep would like to know, how long have the dingoes been dastardly?
Our whole lives.
Yeah.
There we go.
We've been dastardly our whole lives for sure.
Indeed. Actually, yeah, do you want to wind the clocks back, Jeremy, all the way back to the year of our Lord middle school?
Yeah, I mean, we went to the same church in middle school, and I was a couple of years older, I think.
You still are.
Right.
That hasn't changed, right?
I
don't know if you have like a time machine or something or whatever, but
I don't talk about it.
Yeah, we hung out in the same groups. We had similar friends. I don't think that either of us would call ourselves best friends in middle school or high school. But we were definitely in the same circles.
Yeah.
A few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, we met at Wick's Pizza to eat some pizza, and I wanted to pick his brain about comics, and it's been a great ride ever since.
And that's how the magic happened, ladies and gentlemen.
That's how we became
that's their origin story. That's the
that
way
is the origin story. Over a pizza talking about comics. That's how
that's right.
That's the way they became the Brady Bunch. And Nick Tucker, glad to see you here. You guys are having a great time. We are. I dig the energy of applied nerdity. So with Tech Racing 2 and past sci-fi tropes, what do you feel about living? I think he means, what do you think about living in the future? Well, I'll reframe it as I frequently do. And the original poster is going, no, that's not what I meant. Anyway, you guys have obviously embraced the technology. We spent a few minutes talking about how you used to have to have a big studio to do just what we're doing now. You had to spend tens of thousands of dollars on cameras and sound things and people to raise the boom mics and union dues and all that. But yet, this show, and this is going to be very obvious, is costing nothing. Yeah. We have invested, aside from the money from this microphone here, we have invested no money in this show. Oh, no, we have. Thank you for PayPal.me. But no, but for the most part, the technology has, like I said, democratized the creative process in numerous fields, and also brought the cost way down.
Yeah.
Which is part of the democratization, I think, to the point where just about anyone can do it if they make themselves educated enough to know their way, how to get in and how to maneuver once they're there. Yeah. So, how do you guys feel about that? The fact that, it is now an open market now.
I love it. I am an early adopter. I I say all the time, I willingly submit to our robot overlords. Bring it on. When people talk about Big Brother, I'm like, all I'm hearing is I don't have to be on Amazon as much because you're just going to answer the question for me. They're like, no, this is what you need. I was like, thank you. Finally, somebody is working for me. So like when it comes to technology, like bring it on, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I love it and I'm into it.
Yeah, and when it comes to like Big Brother stuff, guys, they can track you. You got a phone, you got it's already, if they want to, they can, and if they do with me, they're going to be really bored.
Yeah.
Like the good grief. But no, I mean, I think what Nick might be getting more at is like kind of how like you look in the past, you look at like Star Trek and like what like the cool stuff that they had on the shows. Like we're starting to see that now, right?
Yeah.
Like those are things that are popping up.
The phone on your wrist.
Right, yeah. And I just want one city in the United States to go full Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Before I die. That's what I want. I like the big freaking pyramid in the middle of the city, with flying cars. That's what I want. That's what I want. And I'm totally fine with it. I embrace it. If it were my home, I would. I wouldn't like the, I just, and then like you walk outside and you just hear the soundtrack playing.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say,
that would be
the
great.
only way I'm on board is if the music is playing.
Yeah,
so when I walk outside, yeah.
No, but I do. I think it's great. I'm totally cool with the technology boom, and technology, just like anything else, it can be used for good. It can be used for bad.
Yeah.
And you know what? The good that it has brought and is bringing to society, I think, definitely outweighs the bad.
Yeah, and I think sci-fi has, and this may be getting to more the point of what he was asking. Sci-fi has always kind of led the way in like the dreaming of what technology could be, and I love that, and I also love what is happening now in sci-fi, thinking about like, well, how far away are we actually from this?
Yeah.
You think about things like the Minority Report and how he's moving these things around. Like, can you imagine if that was how you like browsed the internet? That would be so incredible.
Yeah.
Like that's the, once you do that, it's like, I don't want to go back to a monitor and a little trackpad that I have to touch. I just want to flick it all around.
Eventually, what I want to do, and I'm sure that I'll get Jeremy to help me if we want this to happen.
All right, Paul.
I know, right? But I want to. I'm loving how like the virtual reality stuff is starting to happen, right? Mm-hmm. And what I want to do is I really want to start exploring virtual reality in comics. Where essentially you take a comic, the idea of like a comic book as a big tall house, right? Like it's just an example, but like the first panel, the first page, you walk into a room, and the page, different panels are different places you walk through the room, and you see it actually around you happening. And something like that, I think would be so cool to explore. Just what specifically with comics and stuff, what technology has in store for us. I think it'd be a lot of fun to explore and have fun with.
I have an incredibly hilarious story about VR before we go on to the next question. Okay. Brian, are you laughing because you know the story?
I think you've told me this before.
So again, my wonderful wife, she's so great. She always is trying to find ways for me to do things that I love. And one year she bought time at a VR studio for me and 3 of my friends for us to go in and play games for, a certain amount of time. We actually ended up buying more time because we were having such a blast. But the game that we focused on playing it was like a zombie herd coming at you, and you're in this tent and you have weapons and everybody, there were 4 of us, we're all in different rooms and we're all facing a certain way, and the horde is coming at us from all angles. And so that's the game. You try to kill all the horde before they kill all of your people. And I think honestly, we played that for about an hour and a half or 2 hours. And when you first put it on, you feel the thing on your head, you feel the things in your hands, you feel that it's just a game, but slowly you forget about all of that. And but some of the controls are a little bit difficult still to work. And in order to pick up a grenade, you had to like reach at it and click a button and keep that button held and throw. Like when you go to throw it, you had to release it at the right time. Think about like Wii bowling, right? Where you had to hold the button until the very perfect time.
Right.
So I'm trying to save us from the horde, and I grab a grenade and I pull the pin out of it and I go to reach back and I let go and it drops right next to me. This is the funny part. I scream out, "Grenade," and I take off running, forgetting that I'm in a room with walls. And you, like, as you're like moving around, you slowly start to get off center, and you realize that when you hit a wall. Well, I was right next to a wall when this happened, and I said grenade, and I ran, and immediately, like it was like 1 foot, and just smashed my face into this wall. And everyone heard this like huge thud. They're all laughing in the game. The guy walks by and he's like, the owner of it, and he's like, "That is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life." And one of those situations, like, you can't be embarrassed. You just have to go with it. And I love that story. And I tell people anytime VR comes up, like it was so funny. It was so funny. I just screamed out like I'm in Vietnam or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I totally forgot it was a game.
Oh gosh, yeah. You actually you told that story in season 1 when and
that's right.
You had Justin crying because it was so funny. Good grief.
That is hilarious. But no, I remember like, excuse me, I remember when my wife and I went to Disney World in like 2000, and we were on some of those, like those not really VR, but you're in the like the Back to the Future ride,
right?
Where you're going like up and down the volcanoes and up and down and around through time. And there was one point where like we had been at this, and I'm not prone to motion sickness, but I was getting battered so badly in the cab that I thought, I'm going to take my damn chances with the volcano. Stop for 2 more minutes, or that, or I'm going to put the fire out down there because I'm either going to wet myself or I'm going to puke. So
they all of a sudden, like, our brains are so silly. Because you go in there and it's like, oh, this is obviously a video and everything's fine. But then 10 minutes in, you're like, I think I'm going to die. I think I'm going to die. As you're like flying past, like,
Oh, that's a great story, Jeremy.
Yeah.
And Sarah says there are more people watching than who have hit the like button. Take a moment to do so. The Dark Mistress of the Church of the Rising Tide has spoken. And the Dark Pope says, Carl Witzman, the Dark Mistress has spoken. Hit the like button. You don't want a papal bull on you. That's the truth.
Yeah.
And now,
no one does.
No.
I've seen those movies. They're terror. It's scary. Anyway, a beard with a temper. Yummy, says Michaela Jade.
Sure. Oh my.
Yes. And you guys have set a record. Now, we have had the great talkers on this show, like Jim Beard and Bobby Nash and Charles F. Milhouse and some Yahoo. But anyway, and the longest we've been behind is like about an hour and 5 minutes. Gentlemen, you are 90 minutes behind.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm
no.
not.
No. I apologize to the people whose comments we won't get to tonight,
Yeah.
but because we are at almost at the 2.25 hour mark, but the time has flown with you guys. It's been,
all of the questions that you have that we did not get to, put them on the Dingoes page, and we will answer them.
We'll answer them. Yep.
you heard it, folks. You heard it.
Yep.
And well, see, we're going to close with one more question here, and I think this is pretty apropos. Sometimes I like asking questions I know the answer to. And this is from author Michaela Jade. How does a podcast pay? Like, how do you make money by doing it?
I mean,
We don't know yet.
Yeah, that's a great question.
If
you have any indication, if you have any advice, please let us know.
Yeah, no, I think really, like, I did look into this about a year ago, I guess. A lot of it, especially on YouTube, you have to get a lot of followers and a lot of interaction. And then, like, a big thing, though, that with any podcast, sponsors can help. At least, it brings in some kind of revenue to at least self-sustain. And I think that's people have been doing that on radio, and that's how everybody does TV commercials. That's how the TV shows and networks are funded, as sponsors and things like that. So that is probably the quote unquote easiest way. If you can get sponsors, that's fantastic. But then, as far as YouTube is concerned, you have to reach an astronomical amount.
I think it's like 4,000 hours.
4,000 hours and 4,000 every quarter and 1,000 regular subscribers.
Yeah.
Not that I've checked into it because I have any ambition.
I got excited like a month and a half ago when I got on and looked at our analytics and was like, 2,500 minutes? And I was like, but then I looked and it's like, 4,000 hours.
Right.
A quarter. That's, we'll get there.
Or it's like 4,000 viewings, actually. No, it's not hours, it's viewings. Excuse me.
Oh, okay.
Which is very possible because all those people have to do is watch 4 things from you. So, but anyway, I'm going to give you guys some good news here. Carl Witzman, I went and subscribed. I like the one that I'd seen before.
Yes.
And
thank you so much, Carl.
Yep. Our goal is to have 200 subscribers by the end of the year.
Yes.
So if we can make that happen,
make it happen, people.
Yep. That would be great.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, and double your pleasure, double your fun with Double Mint gum. Yes, I'm that old. Sarah has subscribed on YouTube.
Yes. Sarah, you rock. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Really, this is great.
Yeah, and Sarah says page liked on the Book of Faces too.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Awesome.
And let's see if I can see anyone else. See, we're going to. Here we go. Ted Davies, the movie podcast, the Disconnected Dingo, aka Jeremy's horror movie experience podcast.
That's right.
Ted Davies Artistry. You can subscribe to on Facebook. So
that would be my horror movie. Disconnected. It's my nightmare.
Yes, and he wants royalties now too.
All right.
And of course, we can tell when this shows you how far behind we are. We're now about an hour and 10 minutes behind. You can tell what happened when this comment was made.
Yes. Do it again. Do it again.
Fine.
Do it again. Yes. Moist. Oh, now you got to start at one end and go to the other.
No. That's weird.
No, okay, Jeremy. Jeremy, obviously you need a lesson here. Here we go.
Oh, there we go.
Watch the master at work. Here.
Indeed. And there it is.
That's so creepy and weird.
Jeremy's so uncomfortable right now. It's great.
I have to go.
This is slower than normal. Oh no. Oh no. Mm-mm. There it is. Mm-mm. There you go, Jeremy. That was for you. That was all for you, buddy.
Do not want.
Jeremy did not consent to this.
I need my mommy.
Don't bring her into this. And moist, not wet. That's what she says. Says Carleen. So anyway, let's see. Oh, here we go. Yes, nice lick. See, you got a nice lick from. This is going to sound terrible. You got a nice lick from Sarah. Christian's going to be jealous, and even if it was just a lick tease.
Oh my!
And of course, an hour ago she had great advice. TKM showed Jeremy how to lick a spine. Pretty please. I hope it.
We did it.
We did it. Your wish is our command. Well,
that's right. That's right.
If you could tell, I stayed out of this, and I just kind of instigated everything, and I'm happy with that. That makes me
you feel better about it.
I do, yeah.
And we also mentioned plugging earlier, and Michaela Jade's somebody that knows the value of plugging, and Sarah, plugging feels good, doesn't it? Sarah asks, and yes, Carl, he just did. Anyway, and of course, this is why we do this, Jeremy. Because it makes Michaela purr.
Oh, so there we go.
Yeah, and here we go.
I just want you to know I'm so excited about how uncomfortable Jeremy is right now. This is the best part of my day. This moment right here, I
want to quit.
I know, just to see
I don't want to do
podcasts
anymore.
And he certainly doesn't want to do this show anymore. This will be Jeremy's last appearance here.
It's so wonderful.
Yeah, and Sarah says, OMG, get the mop to clean it up. We'll have Christian, the altar boy, clean it up for not being here right now. There we go. Okay. We'll let Sarah have the last comment from the gallery there. As soon as it goes away, I just click. Come on. Catch up with me. There we go, please. There's okay, we're going. This happens occasionally. It's like there we go. Finally, it's like that was close. Anyway, but not close enough. But anyway, hi, honey. Mwah. How you doing?
Hi, Cookie.
Hi, Cookie. Everyone says hi, Cookie, and they're waving at you.
She's like, get off the internet.
Get off the internet. Oh, she picked the wrong time to show up.
Hey, can she do a maniacal laugh for me? I love it.
She's already left the room. She's already
left the room. That's sad. Maybe
that's
she'll
okay.
Do it tomorrow.
She's I ought to have that recorded and put on the soundtrack here.
There you go.
But anyway, we apologize to everyone for not getting to all your comments and not saying hello to everyone. But thank you all for
thank you
for your comments.
Thank you very much.
And your questions. Oh, excuse
Appreciate
me. Yeah. Hey, she's back, honey. Yeah. Would you give one of your maniacal laughs for Jeremy Woodring? And
yes,
that's awesome.
It's so great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Brian Rodman just had that moment that poets dedicate their lives to describing.
My muse has sang, and I love it.
That's great.
But anyway, Javi Absner, glad to see you here, sir. Glad to have you here. And let's see, changing the industry one indie at a time, definitely. Right. And collaboration is pretty important at this time as well. Very cool. Absolutely. Thank you for your comments there. And thank you to everyone, like I said, who had questions. We apologize that we couldn't get to it, but I think we've made up for it with some great content from Brian Rodman and Jeremy Woodring. Thank you guys both.
It was a lot of fun.
Being here.
Well, thank you for having us, man.
Well, it has been my pleasure, and I hope it won't be the last time. We hope we can rope you two into. I may have to promise not to lick any spines, but
oh no, don't do that. That's don't. Oh, okay. There we
go. Don't tell Jeremy, but we'll just just you and me. It's like we
just wait till I'm like stuck on the air, and I'm like,
yeah, it's too late. You can't go. You can't go anywhere now. We got you.
That's right. And John Bruning, I see you here, buddy. Glad to see you. And he's got a good comment here. Totally agree. Social media, people like to dump on it, but it's helped me connect with hundreds of people in the indie book publishing community. And by the way, funny you should mention that, because in 2 weeks from tonight, John Bruning will be our guest on Clever Title Pending. And he's going to talk about what a pain in the butt I am to deal with as far as being a writer for one of his publications. No, he's going to share his vast experience in the new pulp writing and editing field, and it's going to be a fantastic show. John, I'm looking forward to having you here, my friend.
Awesome.
And so anyway, we're going to, like I said, or like these gentlemen said, please check out the Dastardly Dingoes page on Facebook. Take your questions that we didn't get to and post them there, and these guys will take the time to answer them, which I think is pretty awesome of you guys.
If we get enough, we might just dedicate an episode to it.
Yeah.
Oh,
so there you
go. There you go. So we'll consider it kind of part 2 of this episode.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah. But I think I always think it's a good sign. Now I understand the frustration. I asked a question, they didn't get to it. Oh well.
Yeah.
But the fact that you guys, I think, gave some fantastic answers and some great conversation and a lot of good information, especially to people who maybe are looking at the edge of the creative field and don't know how to get in. And are concerned with the cost, all the other things that might go along with it. But like we said, just do it, and it doesn't have to cost a lot. And Anna Maria Salvaggio, just had to say hello to you. She's awesome. Check her out. She's amazing. And here we go. I'm never going to get through the show. Life is too short. Sometimes done is better than good. Your message does no one any good stuck in your head. Get it out into the world.
Yeah.
If we've said nothing else tonight, Anna Maria, that is brilliant. Thank you so much. Oh dear. Okay, one more.
Fantastic.
All right. Nice.
Christian's gonna be so jealous. Anyway.
And we'll have some fun with that when he's on the show.
Yeah.
There we go. A battle royale, if you will.
Remember, folks, if 99% of the world hates you, there's still 75 million people that like you.
Or that don't know you yet.
Yeah. They don't know if they like you.
Way to hunt down that dark cloud behind the silver lining, Brian.
I'm here. I'm only here to give.
Yeah. I heard that the other day, and I thought that was great.
Yeah, that is a really good thought.
That really is. That is fantastic. But yeah, I better stop looking at the comments, or I'll be here all night. But anyway, these guys, and guys, you've been very generous for your time and your wisdom, your humor. Thank you so much. I'm going to give each of you guys one more opportunity to remind these people why you are so amazing and where they can keep up with you. We'll start with Jeremy this time.
All right.
Then we'll go to Brian, and then I'll put you guys on mute, and then I'll close out the show. Please stick around so I can say goodnight to you properly.
Cool.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. So we're going to start with Jeremy Woodring. Jeremy, tell the people where to find you and why you are so amazing, and you are.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You can find me on my website, jeremywoodring.com. You can see some examples of my work. If you want me to do any work for you, there's a way to get in touch with me there. Obviously, my Facebook page, Jeremy Woodring. I'm pretty sure it's facebook.com/jeremy.woodring. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But if not, match my face to on the search thing and you'll be fine. Or you can email me at inbox.jeremywoodring.com. I love making videos and editing audio and restoring audio. I had an opportunity to restore some audio that was about it was recorded in 1980, and it was a lot of fun. That's on my website. I love helping people figure out, wade through the technology of being creative. Sometimes that's all that's keeping a great artist from becoming a great artist. And I also lost train of thought. Yeah, just go to my website. That's the easiest way. JeremyWoodring.com.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jeremy. Appreciate
Yep.
you so much, man. And now we're going to close it out with Brian Rodman.
And yeah, everybody can head on over to brianrodman.com. And I've got some blogs there, all the comics. I create a horror fantasy comic series called Memoirs of an Angel. It's about a ragtag group of infinite and finite beings who race through time and space to rescue a broken witch hunter from the clutches of the Dark Kingdom. It is like Lord of the Rings meets The Exorcist. So if you were to take The Exorcist and kind of pull back the curtain into the spiritual realm, that's what you get with Memoirs of an Angel. And that's where the Lord of the Rings aspect comes in. And you can find me on Facebook under Brian Rodman. You can also find Memoirs of an Angel on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram at brodman_comics with an X because I'm super fancy. And and you can find Jeremy and I both on YouTube. Just search the Dastardly Dingoes podcast, and you will see a goofy dingo with a pirate eye patch on with a suit, and that is us because we're ridiculous and we enjoy having a lot of fun. And yeah, that's where you can find me. And please check out the comic. It is a joy, and we are really taking off. And so I'd love to have you guys join the ride. So yeah, thank you very much.
Your mic's off.
Oh, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
I just got so excited to say goodbye to you. Anyway, but no, the first gaffe I've made on the show, I think it's pretty good. I had to wait 2.5 hours to do it, man, instead of the top of the show. But anyway, guys, it has been fantastic having you here, and I do hope you will come back again soon.
Absolutely.
You guys are amazing. And for everybody, please check out the Dastardly Dingoes podcast on dastardlydingoes.com, as well as on their Facebook page. And again, as we said earlier, please take your questions that you had here and copy them onto that page. They will answer them and probably make an episode out of this. So again, thank you to everyone who tuned in tonight. Like I said earlier, or I didn't say this earlier, next Tuesday night, we are going to have a real treat for you. Not that tonight hasn't been a treat. It's been awesome. But next week, we're going to have another comic creator here, Mr. Randy Zimmerman, who is a longtime independent comic creator. He's been around since the 80s, working with companies like Arrow and so on. He's also the right-hand guy of Varian Grant on the Indie Volts Broadcast Network. So he's also a broadcaster and a writer, artist, letterer. Every time I open a comic from the 80s from the independent press, his name winds up in there. He's also a host of a great show on co-host on Thursday mornings of a great talk show, early morning coffee show, as well as Sunday Funnies on Sunday. So the guy has a lot of history in the comics field. So if you have any ambition of breaking into indie comics or want to know how to take your first steps, check us out next week on Clever Title Pending. And we want to thank again our friends at Plasma Fire Graphics. When the look of your book matters to you, because it matters to your reader, check them out, plasmafiregraphics.com. Also, please check out the Solad books, Soldiers of Light Against Darkness, by Mr. Tyrone Tony Reed Jr., our co-sponsor for this episode tonight. They're available on Amazon Books, both books. You'll love them both. And also go to TyroneTonyReedJr.com for more information on what this amazing man does. So, everyone, thank you for being here. We appreciate your being here, whether you're watching live or on the rerun, as always. And also a special thanks to our friends at iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Amazon Music for housing our broadcast. Also to Geek Insider for powering this episode along with risingtide.pub. So please check out our website, risingtide.pub, where you can sign up for my free monthly newsletter. The next issue goes out December 1st at 5 p.m. If you sign up before then, you'll get the next issue. We have videos, we have secret links, we have inspirational quotes, all kinds of guest editorials, all kinds of stuff in there, but mostly we have motivation, education, and inspiration every issue. So please sign up today, and it's totally free. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please, if you've enjoyed this video, and how could you not? These guys are great. give this video a like, a big thumbs up, and please consider subscribing because it helps in our searchability on the platform. And also, please ring that bell so you'll be notified every time we post something new on there, and you'll get 30 minutes notice every time we do a live broadcast. And if you're watching on Facebook on the Indie Vent or the Rising Tide Publications page, please give that forum a like. Again, it helps us in the news feeds, all right? So more people can see the cool people you hang out with. Be sure to share this video wherever you're at. We would love that. And that's all I can think of. So anyway, in closing, this is Brian K. Morris thanking you for being here on Clever Title Pending this November 17th, 2020. Yeah, I always have to look anymore. But anyway, thank you all for being here. Appreciate you so much. And remember, stay safe, stay smart, wash your hands. Never apologize for being awesome, because that's what you are. Everyone have a great evening, and we'll see you tomorrow morning on Never Mind the Furthermore at 10 a.m. Have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in to Clever Title Pending, a Rising Tide Publications and Brian K. Morris production. A member of Comic Book Advocating Network and sponsored by GeekInsider.com. Become part of our show with sponsorship and advertising opportunities. For details, contact advertising@geekinsider.com or visit podcast.geekinsider.com. The Geek Insider podcast is available on your favorite app, so please hit the follow button and share it out to your friends, because if you don't, you might have to turn in your geek card.